From the CSI Baseball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet welcomes you back into NCAA Division II baseball coverage on the ECC Network. In today's conference matchup, the College of Staten Island Dolphins host the Queens College Knights in Game 2 of our Sunday afternoon conference doubleheader. Good afternoon, everybody. Once again, with my very hoarse voice, my name is Joe Foreman, alongside my broadcast partner, Nick Bavona. Nick, we called the 9-inning game already today.
Yep.
One more to go. Hopefully my voice gets a little better as the afternoon goes on, though I'm not counting on it. The Dolphins are hoping that they can pick up a win and salvage a split in this 4-game series. The Dolphins won the opener yesterday. They dropped Game 2 and then dropped Game 3 here at home today. They sent Francesco Bonvini to the mound, looking to get back in the win column.
You get the sense that this might be a must-win game for the Dolphins, with obviously losing Game 1 of this doubleheader here today. They lost Game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday against Queens. So now they're trying to avoid losing 3 out of 4 in this series against the Knights. And obviously we have talked about it in a lengthy discussion about what the standings are currently going on for these teams after Game 1. The Knights now go to 9-6 in conference play. The Dolphins drop to 7-8. So you really get that sense of a feeling for CSI that this really might be a must-win game for them if they want to have a chance at the playoffs.
Well, the Dolphins will have 8 conference games remaining following today's doubleheader. They face Deauville and they face Malloy. The Malloy series will conclude the season, well, I should say the 2 games of 4. The Saturday games will be played here at home. The series will end in Malloy, but those 2 games always give you a pretty good indication of where the series is headed in most cases. And you learn a lot with what the teams do in both halves of a doubleheader on a given day. This particular series, back-to-back doubleheaders, we are now in Game 4 of 4 between the Dolphins and the Knights, and Francesco Bonvini has a 1-1 count to open up the game. Waiting for our live stats to begin pushing the play-by-play, and then we'll get you the starting lineups. But what I can tell you is that Phil Carpata will lead off once again for Queens College.
Carpata drew a couple of walks in Game 1. So he hits that one to Rodriguez, hits off his glove, and he'll have no play there.
Well, the Dolphins were plagued by errors in the first game.
I wouldn't count that one as an error, though.
Really?
That was a hard hit ball.
I thought he was there.
They're gonna give him the error, but
I'm giving him an error on that. He was there. Look at it again on replay. Let's see. So hard to tell on a screen that small.
Yeah. It looked like off the bat it was hit very hard quickly to short, which is why I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say it was a hit. But
yeah, I can't.
That's fair.
That being said, we had a discussion on the play in left field following the last game, and we'll see perhaps if more opinions come in later, but we were asked to change that to a double. Play where Burkhead had to run out to the fence and drop the ball. I don't know if that's going to stand, but we were asked to change it, and for now it has been changed. It was a long run.
It did look like it hit his glove, though.
I think once you get there and are settled under the ball and fail to catch it, it becomes an error. That being said, I mentioned it at the time. Him having to make that play very close to the wall was definitely impactful because the ball couldn't get away very far. So you take that for what it's worth. However, that also factored into the decision, or at least the request, to change the play. The fact that there was no space between the wall and his glove. So just something else to throw out there. Runner going, and the throw beat the runner to the bag, but Rodriguez was not able to hold on to the ball and apply the tag. So picking up right where he left off in Game 1, Carpata is on to open the game and steals a base.
Already danger looming for the Dolphins here in this top first.
Very similar lineup in the 1 through 6 spots for Queens. Carpata, Jacobson, Jimenez, Cisco, Patain, Segura.
Jacobson was just hit by the pitch, so he now goes to first base.
The rest of the lineup made up of players, I should have said 1 through 7, very similar. 8 and 9 for the Knights. Leo Alvarez and Thomas Napolitano Jr. So the two of them were not in the Game 1 starting lineup as your Six Jimenez takes a strike. We'll get you the numbers on Francesco Bonvini as well following this next pitch. Runner's going. And no one is covering at second. Kehoe. I do have to check my Dolphins lineup. Are they having Kehoe catch 2 games in a row?
They are not.
It's Nick Campese.
I think Kehoe's the DH.
Yeah, I figured they wouldn't have Kehoe catch 2 straight. Chris Bartnick is the DH.
Okay.
Kehoe is in right field. Seen him play a lot of center. I can't recall the last time we saw him play right.
I don't think I've ever seen him play right field.
I'd have to think about it. I'm not sure I have either. Defensive alignment for the Dolphins, first to third. Vigliotti, Weber, Rodriguez, Weigel. Get you the outfield after this next pitch, followed by Bonvini's numbers, as that's fouled off. Outfield left to right for the Dolphins, Burkhead, Polomini, and Kehoe. Campese behind the plate. And for Francesco Bonvini, he comes in having appeared in 6 games, including 5 starts. He's pitched to an 0-3 record with a 9.62 ERA and a 2.1 whip. In 24 1/3, he's allowed 31 hits. And that breaking ball is in for a called strike 3. Jimenez didn't like it, and he goes down looking for the 3rd time today.
Nice breaking ball from Bonvini right there, too. Fooled Jimenez, and I went on the outside corner. So that brings up Mark Cisco now with 1 out and 2nd and 3rd still for the Knights.
Bonvini's pitch on its way, and that's in the dirt for ball 1. So 24 1/3 for Bonvini, 31 hits, 33 runs, 26 of those earned. He's walked 20 and struck out 27. Opposing batters hitting .310 against him. That pitch is in for a called strike. And Queens now is becoming incensed with the strike zone.
So a lot of audible calls in Game 1 from both sides. And now early on in Game 2, could be in store for another one.
There were some groanings in Game 1 at different points, but nothing like this. I mean, Queens fired up following that last pitch. Jimenez was not happy when he struck out, and then that last breaking ball to open up the at-bat to Cisco definitely drew some ire from the Queens dugout and from the third base coaching box. Head coach of the Knights, Chris Reardon, in his 11th season, as that pitch is fouled away and the count runs to 2-2. Question is, do we have our Game 1 box up on the website yet? I'd be impressed if we did. We do not. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's up.
And that's behind the batter. Great job there by Campese.
Saved the run for sure there.
No doubt. Count 3-2 now. That's fouled away. This is about that time where I'd give you the numbers for Cisco from Game 1. Can't do that. So I will tell you he bats with 2 in scoring position, 1 out. Big out to get here for Bonvini if he wants to escape this inning unscathed. And that's off the outside corner for ball 4.
Well, we saw for Christian Rice in Game 1, he was trying to use that outside corner and got some strikeouts with throwing that outside pitch, but Bonvini missed on that one. Now loads the bases for Joey Patine, and we know, Joe, he had a 3 RBI day in Game 1, so looking to add to his total here today with the bases juice and still just one out.
Going based on memory, Nick, I think he finished with 4.
Oh, maybe he did.
So that's fouled off.
Oh, right. I think he had one in the 9th inning, right?
I think he had one after the Dolphins' error on the infield. Comes the 0-1. And that's lined toward the middle and into center field for a base hit. That will score a pair. And it's a 2 RBI base hit for Joey Patain as the Knights take an early 2-run lead.
Patain continues his monster day in this doubleheader, bringing home 2 more runs as he gets his team an early 2-0 lead here in the top of the first. So once again, Joe, the Dolphins will have to try to come from behind in another early deficit.
That will bring up Francis Segura. Two on. Still just 1 out for Queens here in the first inning. And the start for Dolphins pitchers game to game becoming more and more concerning as the season goes along. Oftentimes early in the year, you see pitchers struggle early in outings because they simply haven't had that much work yet. But as of late, it just seems like every game the Dolphins starting pitcher is laboring early in the game. And that is fouled off the light tower. Watch out.
As long as it's that, not a car.
Got to keep your head up in the seating area. That one almost rebounded straight onto the back of a fan.
Yeah.
Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Lead runner going. And the Dolphins do not make a throw as Cisco easily steals third.
It's continuing to wreak havoc on the base paths. They should continue to steal and steal.
And you just hate to see that. An uncontested steal of third base with less than 2 outs. As that's hit right back to the mound, Bonvini will go to second for 1. On to first, and they turn the 1-6-3 double play. And just like that, the Knights are turned aside in the first inning, but Queens does score twice, and they once again lead it early as they are in front, 2-0. G Aesthetics Med Spa and Wellness Center. Our approach to beauty and wellness begins with a holistic plan tailored to the unique needs of our patients. When we consult with patients, we let them tell us what their problem is. We don't tell them what the issue is. We find out what they're looking for, and we discuss, and then we give them options. If you're looking to achieve radiant skin, you've come to the right place. We offer hydrofacials, microneedling, Opus Plasma, peels, facial and laser treatments, laser hair removal, body sculpting, fat freezing, hormone replacement therapy, Botox, IV drip therapy, and more. We are open Monday through Saturday and are located at 720 Forest Avenue, Staten Island, New York, 10310. We hope to see you soon. Visit our website at www.chiaesthetics.com for more information. Home first inning from the CSI Baseball Complex where the Dolphins trail 2-0 early. And we'll get you the starting lineup for CSI that will face starting pitcher for the Knights, Peter Nanadich III. Lineup he will face. Leading off, Michael Kehoe, followed by Brian Burkhead, A.J. Vigliotti, Chris Polamini, Vincent Weigel, Owen Weber, Chris Bartnick, Nick Campisi, and Nico Rodriguez.
Talk about a huge double play ball, Joe, for the Dolphins to get out of that first inning, as it looked like they were in danger of giving up more runs, but great job by Bonvini. Got a glove down on the chopper up the middle, was able to track it, get the throw to second base in time, and then the Dolphins were able to turn that double play to escape get minimal damage as they trailed by 2 going here in the bottom of the first.
Well, that was a decisive play by Bonvini, and he had to be decisive in that spot, as he could have come home with it and had a play there for sure, but obviously that doesn't give him a chance for 2. he went to second with it, and that was the wise play. As they turn the double play, escape the inning, allowing just 2 runs, and now the Dolphins will get to work at the plate. As Nick and I right now are trying to catch the end of this Knicks game. It is a 1-point game with 13 seconds left. The Knicks just turned it over on the inbound, and now the Bulls have a chance to win it.
Our voice expression, we'll have to see what it is in about 10 seconds.
Yeah, so when we sound disgusted, we want our audience to know why if the Knicks don't hold on here.
They missed.
I think the Knicks will hold on.
No, still time. There's still time.
2 seconds.
2.1 seconds left.
We have the rebound.
Yeah, we have the ball. Shooting free throws.
How about that for a season finale? Were it not for this doubleheader, I'd be there.
Yeah, they got a good one today, but it's all right. Playoffs are coming up.
I'll probably be at most playoff games, if not all. We'll see. First pitch in for a strike to Michael Kehoe.
Got that, and Rangers coming up too.
Kehoe homered in game 1, a 2-run shot. That was in a 3-0 game. Kehoe back in his very familiar leadoff spot here in game 2.
Yeah, Kehoe hit that home run. Dolphins were trailing 6-2 at that point. Made it a 2-run game with that home run.
Comes the 1-1, and that swung on and missed for strike 2. Long look in here by Nenadich the third ahead of the 1-2. And he loses the hat. Does not get the call on the pitch well outside. And the count's even at 2.
The first time today we've seen a pitcher lose his hat on the mound.
Comes the 2-2. And did Kehoe hold up? No, he did not. Michael can't believe it.
We saw Weigel, and Mike Morrow's not going to come out. We saw Weigel go the same way. He might get ejected. Thought I heard something. I thought there was an ejection for a second.
You heard correctly.
Okay.
As head coach Mike Morrow received a warning.
I thought I did.
Yeah, you heard what you thought you heard. Okay. So did everyone else.
Okay.
And it drew a reaction from the spectators.
The Fanatics got to put some dolphin noises for that sound.
And Brian Burkhead takes ball 1.
Curious to see how far the at-bat was. Didn't look like Kehoe really moved his bat that much. But again, like we said with the Weigel at-bat in game 1, it's really a tough angle from behind the plate to see if he went around or not. So that's a tough one.
Well, Nick, the first-round playoff matchups have been released as the Knicks do hold on to win.
Held on. Wow. A 51 year.
2 seed, not bad.
Yeah, we'll take it.
That means home court for each of the first 2 rounds, which will be nice. Everyone better load up on tickets for Game 7. Those are still available. As that pitch misses high for ball 4, Brian Burkhead draws the 1-out walk, and the Dolphins have their first base runner of the game.
A.J. Vigliotti now comes up, and he was the one that got the Dolphins a 2-run homer to make that point a 3-2 game. He had a 2-0 count, delivered a no-doubter into left field.
A.J. Vigliotti will be the batter. Vigliotti also homered in Game 1. Second straight day with a long ball for him, and he tried to make it second straight game. I misspoke earlier and said second straight game.
He's trying to make it 3 and 4 games.
He wanted to cash in on a potential Joe Stradamus moment right there. And Vigliotti takes low and outside there. Count even at 1. Comes the 1-1. And Vigliotti takes the breaking ball for a strike. Get you the numbers on Peter Nanadich the third following this next pitch. Count 1-2 on Vigliotti. And they check on the runner at first. Burkhead just got back. So very quickly, for Peter Nanadich III, he comes in having appeared in 7 games, including 4 starts. He's pitched to a record of 2-3 with a 6.47 ERA and a 1.84 WHIP in 32 innings. He's allowed 44 hits and 29 runs, 23 of those earned. He's walked 15 and struck out 28 as Vigliotti lines a base hit into right field. And the Dolphins have 2 on now with just 1 out here in the first. And Chris Polamini coming to the plate.
Well, how many times this season have we seen, Joe, where Vigliotti goes opposite field hitting? Had a nice wide gap in between first and second base. Easily gets a base hit into right center field. And now gives the Dolphins the go-ahead run at the plate.
Polamini comes to the plate in a big spot here. Team trailing by 2 in the first inning. And a chance to cash in early. Burkhead in scoring position at second. Vigliotti on first. And Polamini takes outside.
Let's look at that previous base hit from Vigliotti into right field. Give the Dolphins now first and second in this scenario with just 1 out in the inning.
Comes the 1-0. That's it for a called strike. Count even at 1. That was stopped nicely behind the plate by Napolitano. Pitch was well wide. The count runs to 2-1. Here's the 2-1. That's in the dirt for ball 3. So Nanadich the third now a pitch away from loading the bases. Count 3-1. Vincent Weigel stands on deck. And that's hit through the left side for a base hit. Burkhead is being waved home, and he will score as the Dolphins are on the board for the first time today. It's an RBI single for Chris Polamini, and CSI is now within a run. It's 2-1.
Nice piece of hitting from Polamini right there. Getting that one into left field and giving him an RBI hit and giving the Dolphins now back within a run. It brings up Vincent Weigel, who had a pretty impressive game 1 as well.
Vincent Weigel will be the batter here. Base hit could tie the score. An extra base hit likely to give CSI the lead. And Weigel takes out of the zone for ball 1.
Let's look at that previous RBI hit from Polamini. Bringing home the first run of the game for CSI.
Comes the 1-0. That's fouled off. Oh, boy.
That didn't sound good. Polamini even gave Weigel gave a reaction at home, too, as well.
Yeah, it didn't sound good.
Did not sound good.
In a situation like that, you're hoping it hit the roof, perhaps the hood. But if that hits glass, I think you may have to call Safelite. Is that the window repair?
Yeah.
Free advertising.
I was just saying.
I don't know of anyone else who does that. That's good marketing.
Yeah.
2-1 the count.
That's
There's
up
another
again.
one. Watch out. That one more toward the roadway than the parking spots.
I always say the worst 2 sounds you could hear are the hit of the bat and then the ball going in that direction and then someone groaning because something bad happened.
And that's blooped on the infield. I was waiting for our ones to the sky there.
Not enough time to do it.
Couldn't get the arm up fast enough.
Always have to acknowledge the infield fly.
Acknowledge the infield fly.
It's been a whole week since that incident last Sunday.
Dolphins have 2 on, 2 outs. Owen Weber at the plate. And he swings and misses for strike one.
The wind is certainly picking up now here.
Wind still blowing toward the outfield wall.
Papers are flying in here. I'm going to have to put some... Oh, there it goes.
Don't let those hit the camera wire now.
Do my best. We're good.
You just leave those on the floor if necessary.
That's
Count even
right.
at one.
We're good now.
We have all of the windows open today, including the one behind us. As the 1-1 is swung on and missed for strike two.
Well, with a day like today, with weather-wise, where it's nicely sunny, it's not really cold. It's a good day to have the windows open, but just need to make sure the electronics are out of the way.
One and two upcoming. And that is foul tipped into the catcher's glove for strike three. As Weber goes down swinging to bring the first inning to a close. But the Dolphins do get halfway back. They score a run in the home first. And Queens now leads Staten Island 2-1.
The Kettle Black on Staten Island. A top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Second inning from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins back to within a run. Sent Francesco Bonvini back to the mound for the second inning. And showing bunt was Michael Velarde. He pulls it back and takes a strike. The 0-1 is outside. Comes the 1-1. And that's low for ball two. Dolphin pitcher seated behind the plate didn't like it. And the 2-1 is hit toward the hole on the right side, out of the reach of Weber, and into right field for a base hit. And with that, the Knights have a leadoff base runner here in the second.
Velarde gets the thing started for Queens here in the second with that leadoff single. As they try to get that run back that the Dolphins just scored in the previous half inning.
Leo Alvarez, the batter, getting his first plate appearance of the day. And he takes a breaking ball out of the zone. Pitch is in for a called strike. Count even at one. Is that a chant of Leo?
I think so.
That was interesting, as the Dolphins may turn two here. And they will.
That is-
4-6-3.
That's also interesting.
Maybe they were calling him back to the dugout. They missed him as the Dolphins turned the double play.
Yikes.
So that would bring up Thomas Napolitano Jr.
Second straight inning, though, Joe. The Dolphins turning a double play. So one to end the first inning.
Pitcher's best friend, Nick.
Yep. There's a reason why I bring it up a lot when we have those scenarios.
Count 1-0 here on Napolitano Jr. And now Bonvini falls behind 2-0. Bonvini working very quickly, Nick. He is ready after each and every pitch.
I think you saw how long game one went. Is that maybe why?
He's got dinner reservations. Does anyone make dinner reservations anymore?
Yeah.
At the fancy restaurants, I'm sure they do.
Yeah. No, not like the other places. Yeah.
Yeah. They know when I walk in. There's always a table open.
Is it at the head?
Well, I sit at the head of the table,
Yeah.
but there's always an open table. That pitch misses high for ball 3. That's fouled away. And the catch is made in foul ground as the side is retired. So Bonvini faces the minimum here in the second. We head to the home half of inning number 2 with CSI trailing 2-1.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Chris Bartnick will lead off for the Dolphins in the home second inning. CSI trailing 2-1, both teams with 2 hits in this game. As Bartnick swings and misses for strike 1. I don't think the Dolphins put up a 0 in game 1 until, what was it, the 4th or 5th inning?
Fourth.
4th?
Yeah. Fifth inning, they got a run, had a chance to tie it.
I'm talking about pitching. When did they first put up a 0?
pitching-wise.
I know they gave up runs in the first 3 innings.
I want to say it was the fourth. Actually, no, it might have been the fifth inning.
I think it was the 5th, but this is when I need that box score.
Right. I
In
think it was,
between innings, I'll go upload the box score.
I think
We
it
need
was.
it.
I think it was the fifth.
And that was fouled off Bartnick's leg. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Comes the 2-2. This is high. Count now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. That last pitch fouled away. Here comes the 3-2. Bartnick will draw the walk to get things started for the Dolphins here in the second. Nick, I'm going to head next door and take care of the stats, get those uploaded. You can take over for a minute.
Okay. Nick Campese will be the batter for the Dolphins. Around nobody out in the inning. See if Campese gets potential bunt opportunity here. As they'll check the runner at first base. Bartnick's back in safely. Third base creeping in. Campese does not show bunt. Takes the first pitch for a ball 1-0. Joe currently in the other room, as he mentioned. Trying to upload the box score for game number 1. 1-0 to Campese. This one into foul territory, even the count of 1. After Campese, it'll be Nico Rodriguez for the Dolphins. They trail this one 2-1. Dolphins complaining about a ball. Pickoff attempt is missed, and Bartnick will go into second base safely. So they won't need the balk that they were looking for. They get the wild throw on the mound, so now they have a runner in scoring position.
Nick, I was about to say, it seems like I missed a lot.
Yeah, the Dolphins were complaining that the pitcher was in a situation where he was going to balk on a pickoff attempt at first base, but they get the runner at second nonetheless.
CSI will certainly take it. As the 1-1 to Campese is in the dirt, and the count runs to 2-1.
Originally, it looked like the Knights were expecting a bunt from Campese. Did not show it in this at-bat.
With the runner now on second, you still think he looks to bunt?
Hasn't shown it. I don't think he will. And especially now after that last
either.
pitch. Well, especially after the last one, he's definitely not going to show it.
I don't think so, no.
Now he's got a 2-2 count here.
Early in the season, Campese had some good success at the plate in his limited plate appearances. And that's chopped on the infield back toward the mound. Waiting for it was Nanadich, and he throws out Campese for the first out. But, Nick, that has the same effect as a sacrifice.
It might as well have been a bunt.
Yeah.
A swinging bunt from Campese. He moves the runner to third base and now gives Nico Rodriguez a great RBI opportunity. And obviously the Dolphins would love to bring home that runner from third in this situation with just 1 out in the inning. And now you see, Joe, infield's starting to move in for the Knights.
Well, I'm sure they remember well what Rodriguez attempted last game as he looked to bunt with runners on the corners, ended up getting caught at first, or I should say, bunting into a double play more appropriately, but pitcher at the time, Jordan Sanabria, was right on that bunt and decisively got the double play started, much like we saw Bonvini do in the first. The 0-1 pitch is taken down and in for ball 1. Comes the 1-1. That's well outside. 2-1 on its way. And that breaking ball's in for a strike. Couldn't tell if Rodriguez was upset with himself for taking the pitch or upset with the call.
Could be both.
Certainly wasn't happy after that strike was called. Count now even at 2. And that misses low for ball 3. The count on Rodriguez has run full. Michael Kehoe on deck. Not a double play candidate. He runs well. Be curious to see if the infield stays in with a runner on first. But that point is moot as Rodriguez goes down swinging on the off-speed pitch.
Huge punch out from Nadich right there to get the second out of the inning. And it's gonna be up to Michael Kehoe now with 2 outs in the inning. Try to bring home that runner from third.
So Michael Kehoe will get his second plate appearance here in Game 2. Kehoe 0 for 1. And thankfully for my sanity, Nick, we now have
the box score.
The Game 1 box.
Nice.
Yes, we have the Game 1 box. Kehoe in Game 1. Wait for it. Was 1 for 4. 1 for 4 with the 2 RBIs coming on the home run.
Got to keep him waiting.
So that's a big out for Peter Nadich III. And I always say it, Nick. You know what I'm about to say, right? Runner on third, less than 2 outs. You must find a way to score most of the time.
Yep.
And that time the Dolphins did not.
Now it's up to Kehoe with 2 outs to try to bring him home.
No team will ever convert at 100%, as that's chopped foul. But you figure you'd like to convert on that opportunity at least 4 out of 5. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes on Kehoe. He can pick up his team right here with an RBI hit or keep the inning going by finding a way on base. And instead, he chases a pitch well out of the strike zone for strike 3 swinging. That will do it for the Dolphins in the second. They strand the tying run at third, and we head to the third with Queens leading 2-1.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials. Live music. And the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dining order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Third inning from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins trail 2-1 after the two teams combined for 18 runs in the early game. Count 1 ball and 1 strike here on the leadoff hitter for the Knights, who will once again be leading off an inning. Phil Carpata.
How many times have we said that today?
At least 5, because he led off the game, obviously, and he led off 3 separate innings in Game 1. So you can't ask for much better than that if you're Queens. A guy with over 30 stolen bases who's consistently gotten on base. chance for him to set the table to start an inning is something that you look to capitalize on if you're Queens. Count on Krpada even at 2, and he chops that one to third. Weigel throws to first, right on target in time, and Krpada is kept off the base paths to start the inning.
Nice strong throw right there from Weigel at third as it took a hop right towards the bag and gets the first out of this third inning.
Robert Jacobson at the plate. He's without an official at-bat in this game. Walked his first time up. That's hit in the air, foul. That misses for ball 2. Comes the 2-1. There's a big swing and a miss for strike 2.
It's a big swings and misses from Jacobson in this at bat. Bovino with a 2-2 count here.
Got him to go after the high fastball on that pitch. That's in the dirt for ball 3. And that misses for ball 4. So Jacobson draws the walk, his second of the game. That will bring up Yorsix Jimenez with a runner on. And 1 out.
Dolphins did a good job today of keeping Jimenez off the base pass for the most part. He went down looking his first time up here in game 2.
See how aggressive he looks to be here. As I mentioned before, his earlier strikeout in this game was the third time today he went down looking. And we've seen some displeasure over the strike zone from both teams in this game. Check on the runner at first, and Jacobson dives back in safely. Comes the 1-0. That's popped up. Out toward right center field. That ball carried pretty well as Polamini loses the hat, comes over and makes the catch. 2 away.
Yeah, the wind's still playing a factor, even into right field. I mentioned it in game 1 with Weigel, who had an RBI double, which originally didn't look like it was going to be a home run bid, but one bounced off the fence. That one right there, originally didn't look like it was going to be a deeper shallow fly ball, but certainly was the case.
2 gone now in the road third inning as they check on the runner again. Close play, but once again, Jacobson dives back in safely. Mark Cisco at the plate here. He's without an official at bat as well. Drew a walk his first time up. Had to turn out of the way of that pitch. Bonvini's allowed 2 base hits and walked 3. He comes set on 1-0. Delivers that pitch outside. Comes the 2-0. And that's it out toward right center field. Long run for Polamini. He loses the hat, dives, and he makes the catch. Polamini saves a run in the right center field gap with an incredible diving catch. And with that, the Knights are denied in the third inning. Our score remains Queens 2 and Staten Island 1.
No, I'm right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Nick Durst here along with Joe Calabrese.
Here we are, 200 episodes later, about 150 episodes with guests, our friends, soon to be your friends.
Well, it's pretty clear, Joe, that it's all about You Know I'm Right, the podcast. That's my You Know I'm Right moment. Wanted to do a podcast, and everyone was like, what are you, crazy? Who's going to listen? You're not going to get guests. Well, guess what? I'm the best when it comes to getting guests. You can vouch for that.
I am so happy that you asked me to do this. I couldn't have been more thrilled. And follow us on socials, check us out. I promise you, if you want to work in media, whether you work in media now, whether you want to quit your job and work in media, come to us, and I promise you, we will get you on the right foot.
That's what it's all about, uncovering the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, and entertainment. Keep it locked on You Know I'm Right.
Brian Burkhead will lead off for the Dolphins here in the third inning. CSI still trailing by 1 as Burkhead takes a strike. And Nick, were it not for that play by Chris Polamini in center, this would be a 2-run game.
After this next pitch, we'll show you that previous play from Polamini in center. A huge diving stop to make sure the Dolphins stay within a run. And I'll bring home that third run for Queens College.
If he didn't shed the extra weight from his hat, I'm not sure he gets there. As that's it on the ground to second, played on a hop, and Burkhead is thrown out for out number 1.
It seems like anytime you're in the outfield, if you're not losing your hat, then you're in a situation where who knows what happens.
And that will bring up A.J. Vigliotti. Vigliotti has taken some big cuts today. One of those resulted in a home run. He singled to the opposite field in his first at-bat as he fouls that one back on another big swing. So it is official. We touched on it earlier. I don't remember now at this point if it was during this game or the earlier game. I think it was the earlier game. But the Knicks not only won, as that's hit well out to right.
It was in this game,
where the catch is made for the second out. But the Knicks are the 2 seed. I don't know if we discussed that part. They have won. The Bucks have lost. The Knicks are the 2 seed. They will play the winner of, I believe, the first playing game,
it'll
right?
be Philadelphia versus Miami. That's who they will get.
So the Knicks get the winner of that first game.
Yep.
I will be pulling for Philadelphia, not because I think the Sixers are an easier matchup, but because
traveling wise,
very, very accessible. I'll probably go to every game in Philly if we don't have events here.
Right.
That's late at night, about hour and 10-minute drive in traffic around 5 or 6 o'clock before the game, maybe an hour and a half. As Chris Polamini skies one out to shallow right. And the catch is made on the move in shallow right field by Alvarez to retire the side. Dolphins go down 1-2-3 in the third. We are 1/3 of the way through here in Game 2 of today's doubleheader. Queens lead Staten Island 2-1. Joey Patain will lead off for Queens in the fourth. The Knights with a 2-1 lead. All 3 runs in this game scored back in the first. First pitch to Patain in for a strike. Patain 1 for 1 at the plate. He grounds one through the hole for a base hit. Seeing eye single that just got between a pair of Dolphins on the left side.
He's now 2 for 2 on the day with that previous hit. As he'll lead up the top of the fourth with a single.
Now batting, number 9, Francis Segura. That will bring up Francis Segura. Segura 0 for 1. Patain now 2 for 2 with that last hit. First pitch from Bonvini hit out to left. And I think Segura just got under it. He did. And the catch is made by Burkhead for out number 1.
Just looking back at some of the NBA scores from earlier. Obviously, we talked about the Knicks. So, do I know how many points the Pacers scored today?
In a loss?
They won.
In a win?
They won.
Oh, they probably got up in the 140s, 150s.
Yep. They scored 157 points.
Yeah, not the first time they've done that.
Yep.
I did not want to play Indiana.
To think that series they have with Milwaukee, it's gonna be funny because they're both known for not playing defense. So
with Giannis hobbled, give me Indiana all day in that series. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Giannis' status is going for the playoffs. Doesn't look too good though.
Count now 2-0 here. And that misses for ball 3. So Velarde has taken 3 straight. He's ahead 3-0. It's been a relatively uneventful last couple of innings, minus the play in center by Polamini that saved a run. As I mentioned before, Bonvini hasn't allowed much outside of the walks, just 3 hits in this game. One of those came in this inning.
The win once again intensifies.
Three and 1 the count. Nick and I have our eye on some other games at the moment.
Yep.
Had to pass along a quick note. Got to get our travel plans in order. I'm a hot commodity. The Knicks might need me to call a game. I'll likely be, I would say, if the Knicks host an average of 3 games per round in the playoffs, every 2 rounds I'll probably be at 5 games. I'll probably miss 1 game per round if I had to guess. Count 3 and 1 as they check on the runner at first. First round could be a bit tough because we have some obligations here.
Right.
The Knicks certainly won't be home on the final weekend of the season. They'll be on the road wherever they're playing. If it's a night game in Philadelphia, might have to get the car started quickly after the final out, as that pitch is in for a called strike 2. Payoff pitch gets to the backstop. And the runner over at first with no thoughts of an extra base as Patain leisurely strolls into second. That will bring up Leo Alvarez. Alvarez 0 for 1 in this game. Bats here with 2 on and 1 out. And there you hear the wind.
It's going right through our headsets.
Rearing its ugly head into our broadcast. Showing bunt is Alvarez, and he takes a strike. Do we have a scoring update in the Yankee game, Nick?
Just hit the lead. They're in extra innings.
Mets might be headed that way shortly.
Seems like all the New York teams today are going into some extra activity.
So if Kansas City doesn't start throwing some strikes, that game could be decided earlier.
Our broadcast partner Nick Durst certainly paying close attention to that game.
We have a lot of screens here in the booth. We have a very extensive commentary desk. We have laptops with every NBA and MLB game available, as well as our mobile devices with games. So we're always in the loop.
Yep.
We'll take a look around the ECC shortly. 1-1 the count on Alvarez. And that swung on and missed.
Yeah, I'm sure these two teams would love to know what's going on around the ECC in terms of scoring-wise, because obviously with conference play dwindling down, the end of the season's almost, not too far around the corner.
I think scoreboard watching probably begins maybe next weekend. But even then, with the series being 4 games, so much can happen in 4 games. You really can't afford to look until the final weekend. I think from the perspective of the Dolphins, team obviously that you and I have covered all year, this is a huge game. Huge game. 2-2, sliced foul.
You just kind of got that sense when you came into after losing game 1 that the Dolphins really needed this one, and so far they're keeping it close. But this is a big spot in this game right now with first and second still just 1 out. The Knights trying to extend the lead here. Bonvini's looking for a huge strikeout to get the second out of the inning.
Comes the 2-2, and that breaking ball sails over the head of Alvarez. Count now full. Bonvini in danger of issuing another walk. Do you just go right at him with a pitch here? Bottom of the order hitter right now?
I think you have to.
Well, he did throw a fastball, but he missed inside. As promised, let's take a trip around the ECC. Sunday, April 14th. The games that are already complete. Dieuville defeats St. Thomas Aquinas 12-8. Queens obviously over Staten Island, 11-7. Malloy over Mercy, 4-3. Now, Malloy and Mercy playing just one today. Stack and Dieuville are playing a second game. That game should be well underway. However,
the page is not found.
Page is not existing. As that's over the head of Burkhead and left, that will score 2, maybe 3. That ball rolls all the way to the fence, and it will indeed score 3 runs. A 3 RBI double off the bat of Thomas Napolitano Jr. has extended the Knights' lead to 5-1.
A huge at-bat right there for Napolitano, getting that one into left center field, clearing the bases, and getting him into second base with a 3-run double as his team now leads at 5-1.
Walks will kill you, Nick. Bonvini has not given up much solid contact in this game, but when you walk the bases loaded and a hitter knows you have to come after him, then you start to see some solid contact, and that ball was crushed. That's a really big one for the Knights in this game as they now lead it by 4. Count 1-0 on Phil Capata. Runner remains in scoring position over at second. Bonvini behind again, 2-0. He's walked 5 and allowed 4 hits in this game. That pitch misses outside. And it's a 4-pitch walk. So Capata is on. And that will bring up Robert Jacobson.
There is action up in the Dolphin bullpen right now. Trying to get the number for, looks like Gautreaux maybe?
Tough to tell.
I'm going based off of his stance.
Yeah, that's Gautreaux. That's Gautreaux.
I went based off of the stance. Did not say the number.
So Vinny Fiore out to the mound for a word with Francesco Bonvini. The Dolphins infield will join that conversation. When the action resumes, Robert Jacobson will be the batter. Jacobson in this game, without an official plate appearance, he's walked twice. And we've said that many times today in both games. Hitters coming to the plate without an official at-bat because they've drawn walks.
Yep.
And credit to the Knights for that. But Dolphins pitching can't afford to walk this many batters. And I think when that's been combined with errors, that's been a recipe for disaster. The Dolphins pitchers have not been getting hit exceptionally hard as the scoreboard would indicate in some games. It's been the walks and the errors combining to run up that run total.
Yeah, you saw in game 1, the Dolphins had 5 errors or 4 errors. Not sure what we still have the issue with that play on left field. But regardless, 4 or 5 errors, you're not going to have many opportunities to win games when you have that happening in the field. And then you count on, as you mentioned, the walks. They gave up 9 hits as well in the game. It's tough to win games like that. And obviously, they scored 7 runs. They had 11 hits, but it just wasn't enough.
So Jacobson, the batter, comes to the plate here with 2 on and 1 out. Dolphins now trail by 4. Comes the 1-0. That's in for a called strike.
Max trying to get the Dolphins into this one.
That's popped up.
It's coming towards us.
Foul territory. Campese there. He's got it.
Just kidding.
Yeah, even I couldn't be fooled by that one. Keep that ball away from us, please.
Please, and a thank you.
Thank you. I'll be glued to the TV on Monday night. Though we know how it's ending.
Got a bet, yeah.
Yeah, I got a bad feeling, too.
I think we all know that one's going to end.
Are they going to go Broken Gable angle?
It should have been him, not...
Abandons the academy and turns on Sammy?
Probably.
Should have been the other way around.
Should have been him.
Should have been him. Sammy got his moment last year when the iron was hot. They struck when the iron was hot. That's what you're supposed to do. They put the tag belts on him after a red-hot storyline. One could argue maybe he should have won the big one. I won't be one of those, but one might argue that. And I don't know. I think it was Chad's time.
It's just funny because you mentioned it earlier before we went on the air. It's been a full week since we were in Philly, but it feels like yesterday we were just there watching it.
Your Six Jimenez hopes to take our minds off of Philadelphia. He's ahead 2-0, and Bonvini will look the runner back to second.
Well, they could be back on Philadelphia if the Sixers play the Knicks. So
if they wanted to get Chad on the card, they could have had him run in and hit, what do they call it now, his finisher? I forget.
Chaos Theory, I think it's called.
He could have hit Chaos Theory on the rock, as that one lands in left field for a base hit. And a run will come in to score as the throw was cut off. It's an RBI single for Your Six Jimenez. And the Knights lead at 6-1.
They're starting to get away from CSI, it looks like, Joe, as Bonvini just has not been able to record that final out. And how many times, unfortunately, Joe, have we mentioned that for the Dolphins, where they seem to be 1 out away from getting out of the inning? And it happened a couple times in game number 1 as well. And they just have not been able to get that final third out. And it leads to another run for Queens.
Walks, high pitch counts, and defensive miscues have all combined to give the Knights plenty of opportunities in these last couple of games, and Queens has taken advantage. You could argue that in this inning, were it not for walks, Jimenez never comes to the plate. No. But the Knights continuing to work the count and run up the pitch count on Bonvini. And with that, Jimenez given the opportunity with 2 outs, a couple of men on base, and he makes the Dolphins pay. That's popped up again, a mile high on the infield. And Weber's got it to retire the side. But not before 4 runs come home for Queens. They now lead Staten Island 6-1 as we head to the home fourth.
The legacy began in 1973. That was the year NCAA Division II was born. And since the very first day, our division has shaped generations of student athletes, with a true sense of academics, athletics, and community. That is 5 decades of graduations, championships, teamwork, and personal development. 50 years of shaping student athletes into world-class leaders. NCAA Division II. Our division, our legacy.
Vincent Weigel will look to get things started for the Dolphins here in the 4th inning. CSI now trails by 5. They trailed by as many as 4 in Game 2 yesterday. Came back to take the lead, so this game certainly far from over as we play here in the 4th.
They trailed by 4 as well in game number 1 here in the doubleheader. 6-2 at one point.
Dolphins, for the most part this year, have not had trouble scoring. I think that's been one of the biggest positives to take away from what we've seen from this team so far this year. And very early in the season, their bullpen was fantastic.
Yep.
I think as those innings begin to pile up on relief pitchers, sometimes the effectiveness wears. But the biggest innings yet to come for this Dolphins team. And if they win this game, they can stay right in the thick of it in the East Coast Conference. Comes the 2-2. And that's outside. For those who have chosen to tune in here over watching the Mets and Yankees play, thank you.
Thank you.
If you're a Mets fan, good news for you. Mets lead 2-0 in the top of the 9th. And not to chase viewers away, but the Yankees right now are in a close one in extra innings.
And that ball goes into left field, Joe. Catcher
right.
went for the throw down to third base after the strikeout, and it immediately sailed over him.
Well, the important part is
They got the strikeout.
they got the strike, yeah. So Weigel goes down swinging, and Owen Weber will be the batter. Weber 0 for 1 at the plate.
Even if the Yankees were to lose this game, I would be annoyed that they lost, but at the same time, thankfully the Knicks won, so it would ease in the pain.
Count 0-1 on Owen Weber. And he looks at a called strike 2. Comes the 0-2. Well, bad news for the Yankee fans now.
Yep, they just erred, and it led to the game being tied. They are about to lose.
They erred. They erred.
They erred. Yeah, pretty much.
Is that the correct way to say it?
No, probably not.
E-R-R-E-D? They erred?
I don't know. It's a play that's got to be made, though.
2 away now for the Dolphins. Two strikeouts in the inning for Nanadich III. He struck out 6 and has allowed just 2 hits and walked 2 as he looks to complete 4 innings strong. Comes the 1-0 to Chris Bartnick. And that's in for a called strike. There's a swing and a miss.
Just seems like the Dolphins are very behind in some of these swings. Znadich is just throwing right past them.
Comes the 1-2. That's outside. Well, Nick, it's now a 2-1 game at Citi Field.
All right.
Royals have homered with 2 outs in the top of the 9th as that's grounded through the middle for a base hit. And the Dolphins have a 2-out base runner. Chris Bartnick with his first hit of the game reaches on a 2-out single.
I believe that's the Dolphins' first hit since the first inning. So, 2-out hit for Bartnick there extends the inning, and they now try to get some runs back and cut this deficit.
Nick Campisi will be the batter. Bartnick, the runner on first. And Campisi takes in the dirt for ball 1. Comes the 1-0. And Campisi takes ball 2.
Yeah,
2-0.
Yankees now officially are about to lose.
That's hit well to center by Campisi, and stumbling toward the warning track to make that catch was Krapata to retire the side. That will do it for the Dolphins in the 4th. They trail 6-1 as we head to inning number 5.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
Fifth inning just getting underway from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins trail by 5 runs. They scored 1 in the first and have not scored since. Francesco Bonvini back to the mound for his 5th inning. He enters the inning with 89 pitches, so you would think that barring a very quick inning, this is probably it for the CSI starter.
It's the Dolphins we've seen have had some action up in their bullpen. I think it's still Gautreaux that's up there right now, still warming up, and I believe that is the case. So, as you mentioned, barring a quick inning, this most likely will be Bonvini's last inning of work.
That pitch misses inside, and Bonvini once again working from behind in the count. It's 2-1. That's up and away for ball 3. We've seen Bonvini soldier through some outings throughout the year where he's had to throw a lot of pitches, battle through some very tough innings, and work really hard, as now he's growing frustrated with the strike zone. But he gets the call there on 3-1. That being said, and obviously the two teams probably have their opinion on the strike zone in this particular game, but all of the base runners that he's had, eventually they're going to catch up with you every time, regardless of how they get there. And that pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Patain is set down on strikes. And there's one away here in the 5th.
I started the inning for Bonvini there to get the punch out. As able to get out of this 5th inning unscathed and keep it a 5-run game. Dolphins still have some time to get back into this one, obviously with it being a 9-inning game, but they'll need to do something on the offensive side if they want to get back into it.
It's hitting the air out to straightaway center. It chases Polomini back, but he settles underneath it and makes the catch. And very quickly there are 2 away.
Now it comes down to this, Joe, because the Dolphins have had their issues in the last couple of innings getting that final third out. We saw that in the last inning for Queens as the win once again intensifies. But all those runs basically came with 2 outs for Queens in that previous 4th inning. So Bonvini will look to get this final out and send us to the bottom of the 5th.
His first pitch is in for a strike to Michael Velarde. Velarde 1 for 1. Ahead of him, Francis Segura was retired on the fly ball. He's now 0 for 3. As the 0-1 pitch is in for a called strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes the count. That's fouled away. Comes the 0-2 again. And that's up high. Comes the 1-2. That's outside. Now 2-2 is low for ball 3. So a good at bat here for Velarde. He was behind 0-2. Has worked the count full.
Bonvini really needs this final strike.
That's fouled off.
These are some of the at-bats we've been seeing from Queens today where they get sometimes down the count early, work it back to a situation like this, and either force a walk or get a mistake pitch, get a base hit.
Comes the 3-2. That's fought off foul again. Count still full, 3-2 on Velarde. And that's ball 4. And those are hitters that you just hate to lose. Ahead 0-2. It's great at bat by Velarde, but can't lose that batter to a walk.
Depending on how this inning goes, that bat's going to be looked upon if the Knights are able to get some runs in this inning.
bring up Leo Alvarez. And he hits one hard on the ground to third. It handcuffs Weigel. And what do you think? Error on that one? He was in front of it.
Yeah, I think so. I'll have to look at the replay, but I think that's the right call.
Yeah. Play has to be made, especially with a runner on first.
Now we're back into that spot, Joe, where I mentioned going into the inning, the Dolphins having trouble to get that final out. And they are in danger of once again letting another 2-out rally happen.
Well, it goes without saying, Nick, but the Dolphins have to find a way to get out of this inning without allowing a run. I need to find a cough drop. I am very slowly losing my voice.
Very raspy voice, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm losing my voice. Hopefully I'm better by Wednesday.
It's tough. Yeah, as I say, we have Wednesday, we have games, but as well, with playoffs coming up too, you're going to need your voice for the playoffs.
I'm not much of a chanter and cheerer at playoff games. Any game, really. But
I only cheer if it's I only cheer if it's for a couple of things. One, if
it has to be late in a close game for me.
It has to be late in the game. One, if the refs make a stupid call, then I'm gonna voice my displeasure.
You're gonna let them know.
Yeah, I definitely let them know. And then obviously, if I have like a favorite player, they do something, then I'm happy to see it.
That's hit to right. And Napolitano Jr. flies out to right field to bring the top half of the fifth inning to a close. The Knights are held without a run. They strand 2. We head to the home fifth. CSI trailing 6-1.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experiences possible.
Nico Rodriguez will lead off the home fifth inning for CSI. His team trailing by 5. And there's another swing and miss as Rodriguez falls behind 0-1. It's been an impressive outing so far for Peter Nanadich III. 6 strikeouts, just 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run. Count even now at 1 ball and 1 strike, and that's chopped foul.
Dolphins just seem to have had a rough time in this game in terms of getting base hits. They haven't been able to really touch upon Nanadich's fastball as well. They only have 3 hits so far through 4 innings.
The Dolphins' offense got off to a red-hot start in Game 1. Looked really good at the plate.
And they got off to a nice start in Game 2 here in the first inning. They got 2 hits.
As that game went on in Game 1, they just kind of lost their rhythm at the plate. I'm not sure exactly what it was because there weren't many long innings for the Knights after the third. They had the 1 4-run inning in the ninth. Or was that in the ninth? It might have been earlier. This is why we need the box score, which I do have now. So they scored 4 runs or I should say 3 runs over the course of the last 3 innings. So really no big inning for Queens after the second. They didn't score more than twice in any other inning. Sometimes when you have a big inning on the other side, it can disrupt you at the plate a bit. But that was not the case. As Michael Kehoe will lay down a bunt, and he's thrown out at first. You have to think he was bunting for a hit there.
Yeah. That's another one where unfortunately went right back to pretty much back to the mound.
So Burkhead will be the batter. Nico Rodriguez drew the leadoff walk. He advances on the bunt. That will be scored as a sacrifice, but I think Kehoe was surely bunting for a hit there. Burkhead 0 for 1 at the plate, and he takes out of the zone.
This is one where the Dolphins obviously would love to get that runner home from second. They had an opportunity in the first inning. They had a runner on 3rd and 1 out. Were not able to bring home the tying run at that point in time. If they need to get back into this game, they really need to bring home that runner from second.
That's fouled back. If you're the Dolphins with a runner in scoring position and 1 out, can't ask for much better than 2, 3, and 4 coming up to the plate in that spot. And you get the sense the way this game has gone, the Dolphins haven't done much at the plate the last 3 innings. They need to find a way to get that run across as Burkhead takes strike 2. One ball and 2 strikes the count. Pitch on its way. And Burkhead tried to hold up, but he could not.
Now they're going to check at second maybe or not.
Oh, boy.
Remember, Mike was already given a warning earlier.
We'll see what comes of this before I make a comment.
I think they at least would have liked to have gotten a second opinion at second base, but...
All right, so what happened now that the play's been sorted out was Burkhead tried to check his swing, and they awaited a call from the home plate umpire. He called Burkhead out, but then the home plate umpire pointed to the infield umpire to defer. I'm not sure there's any way that he has a better angle, though the infield umpire told Mike Morrow that he called time, or it was my time. I'm not sure if that means he stopped play himself. Either way, Dolphins unhappy once again.
Which one? The outside camera? I was probably unmuted, but we were getting information passed along to us.
So we're going to have a special message from the Kehoe family on camera, likely in between innings.
That might go, Joe.
That's it well.
That one's gone.
And that ball's gone. A.J. Vigliotti crushes a 2-run homer over the left center field wall. And, Nick, that
there it is
his second in as many games, his third in the last 4, as Vigliotti put a charge into that one. And just like that, it's 6-3.
That one, again, you can tell right off the bat, it was going over the wall for a home run. And that's what the Dolphins need to get back into this game, Joe. Down by 5, a big 2-run homer, trims the deficit to 3. It brings some spark back into that dugout for CSI.
And I think that's exactly what the Dolphins needed. Big blast to put some life back into that dugout. And I need some life back in my voice. I'm hearing it in my own headset. It's bad.
Not enough agua.
I'm not sure.
It's not going to do much, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to do much. Probably should have let you have this one. Taking a back seat in this game is that's to the backstop. Perhaps Wednesday if things don't improve.
I'll be here.
I think this is probably the third time I've tried to soldier through a game on Sportsnet with no voice. As that pitch is fouled away by Chris Polamini, and the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
But this is just recently started for you, right? Like, it's been like a couple days?
It's been a steady descent since I returned home from Philadelphia on Monday, or Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday. I think for being technical, I got home in the early hours of Tuesday morning at about 12 a.m., 1 a.m. Either way, since that day, it's been a steady decline.
Would have made sense if you were the one, cheering like that at WrestleMania, but
I was the only one who wasn't standing. As that's hit over to second. And Polamini is thrown out to bring the 5th inning to a close. But not before the Dolphins pull 2 runs closer. A.J. Vigliotti puts a charge into one as he hits it over the left center field wall. And with that, the Dolphins are back to within 3. Our score, Queens 6, Staten Island 3. Sixth inning from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins now within 3. And Nick, that home run by A.J. Vigliotti, huge hit for this Dolphins team. It's still a 3-run game, but that really brought some life back to the CSI Baseball Complex, ignited the bench a bit, and now the Dolphins turn to who has been their most reliable relief pitcher this year, Antonio Gautreau. And they really need some quality innings out of him.
Yeah, they really could use some quality innings. And we saw in Game 1, Dennis Kelly gave the Dolphins some quality innings as well. So if they get a similar performance here from Gautreau, keeps them in this game, and they still have a chance to come back.
Gautreau quickly gets ahead 1-2. Batter Phil Carpata. And Nick, wouldn't you know it?
He leads off the inning.
He leads off another inning. And he takes low there for ball 2.
If you're the Dolphins, just make sure he doesn't get on base.
It's been easier said than done today. Most of his appearances on the base paths have come via the free pass. That's the good news, depending on how you look at it. In other words, you have a bit of control over this situation. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes on the night's center fielder. Comes the 2-2. And that's lined to right. Waiting for it is Palermo, and he makes the catch. Had to go down to a knee, but he held on.
He did, but he did hold on. That's all that matters at the end of the day. So a nice first half recorded by the Dolphins there.
That will bring up Robert Jacobson. Jacobson 0 for 1 at the plate. He's drawn 2 walks, and he takes outside. Comes the 1-0. That's chopped towards short. Rodriguez plays it deep on the infield dirt. And the throw to first was scooped by Vigliotti, but not in time. And it's an infield single for Jacobson.
Rodriguez pretty much played that in pretty much the top of center field. And that's a tough throw from where he was position-wise. And Jacobson reaching first base easily with a infield single.
That would have been a very impressive throw by Rodriguez if they had gotten the runner in time. 1 out base runner for Queens. And your 6 Jimenez takes down and in for ball 1. Jimenez 1 for 3 in this game. Had an RBI base hit earlier. And he took a big cut at that pitch as the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Try and get those 2 runs back with that 1 swing.
The Dolphins today have now hit 3 home runs, 1 by Kehoe, 2 by Vigliotti. There goes the runner from first. And no throw.
I think the Dolphins were looking for interference again, Joe.
It's an easy stolen base for Jacobson.
And that's Mike Morris going to talk about it. Did they call it? There's a very audible conversation at home. Oh. Now I have the replay. We might see the ejection.
We are listening in right now. The conversation has gotten very animated.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have our camera as an audio source, and the camera tends to pick up audio pretty well in the direction it's pointed. It's probably a good thing right now.
Yep.
But what's being discussed is whether or not Jimenez swung. Let's see.
I don't think it's that. I think there was interference because look at the last at bat. Look where Jimenez goes on the pitch. He ducks as Campese was trying to throw to second base. That's exactly what it is. They're sending the runner back to first base.
And Jimenez is out?
I think he's out, yeah. Is it an out automatically if you get interfered with it? I'm not sure what the
way that you described it earlier, it's as if the runner was out in yesterday's game to end the game. I followed on live stats.
So what it was in that scenario, I'll bring it back. So what happened was it was a runner on first with 1 out. The count was 3-2 to the batter. He struck out looking. The runner from first was running on the pitch, and on the throwdown, the batter that was in the batter's box basically did what happened in that scenario. He got involved with the throw to second base, and that's why the game ended, because it was not only a strikeout, they got the second out, it was a catcher's interference or a batter's interference that gave the final out of the game.
But was that not the exact same situation here?
But
the runner was going on strike 3.
Right, but he wouldn't be. But they're not going to call. Oh well, yeah. You're right.
Yeah. So I'm confused.
I'm confused as well.
So on a typical interference play, if it's not strike 3, who is out?
But it didn't look like it was strike 3 either, which is the funny part.
that's what I'm going back to from before. I think
because look where
the home plate umpire said he swung.
Look what the pitch is. He didn't even swing.
He certainly did not swing, but I think the home plate umpire said he did, and that he struck out swinging, and then interfered.
I don't know what he was looking at then.
That is what was being argued by Chris Reardon, assuming he's coaching third base. And in many cases, the head coach does coach third base, though Queens has a lot of assistants, so one of the assistants might coach third base. I know Mike Morrow doesn't coach third base. Their senior-most assistant coach is John Smith.
I'm just as confused as you are. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely confused by what just transpired. But that's called strike 3. Mark Cisco didn't like it, and the inning is over. So the Knights strand a runner on base, and after some controversy, they fail to score. We head to the home 6th inning. CSI trails 6-3.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can. And then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we are back here from the CSI Baseball Complex, where we're going to have a message from the Kehoe family. For George watching at home, and from your family and all of us here at CSI Sportsnet, get well soon. As we see that message also displayed on our pitcher batter camera. So we appreciate Kehoe's coming out, and we hope that George is feeling better soon back at home. We hope he's watching, as he is one of many viewers that we'd like to shout out each and every game. There's the family in the stands, and we were very grateful to get the opportunity to allow the Kehoes to pass along that message. So get well soon, George, and hopefully the Dolphins give you a reason to be feeling a bit better. I could use one as well, so we'll see what CSI can do at the plate as Vincent Weigel takes a strike to open up the home 6th inning. Nick trying to get our camera reset, so we'll go to the wide shot while he works on that. Might have to go help him. One and one, hit hard on the ground to second. And Weigel is retired for out number 1. One away in the home 6th. And Owen Weber will come to the plate. Weigel now 0 for 3 following that last ground out. Weber comes to bat here 0 for 2. Chris Bartnick on deck 1 for 1. Comes the 1-0. And that's it out toward right center field. That ball is tailing toward the gap. And it falls for an extra base hit. Weber will coast into second base standing with a 1-out double. And the Dolphins have some life here in the 6th, as Chris Bartnick will come to the plate looking to make this a 2-run game with a base hit. Bartnick comes to the plate here with 1 out and a runner in scoring position. Now, Nick, did we get any further information on which members of the Kehoe family
I didn't
were here?
ask.
No.
I didn't ask. But they did say that they watch us all the time from Florida, so they appreciate what we do here on the broadcast.
That's great to hear.
And we got the whole shot through. They they originally didn't want to be on camera, but they eventually did get on camera after.
I figured they would just hold the sign up in the camera.
That's what they originally were doing, and then I said, do you want to be on camera? And they said, yeah, why not?
All
I
right.
said, okay. Not sure if we got to that
Now,
part, but
Bartnick will fly out to center for the second out. There aren't many people who can say they've appeared on camera as the focus of a shot on CSI Sportsnet.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had
we've done
some
a
shots
bunch
in
of
the
time.
crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've had interviewers, interviewees, and the broadcast team. Unless you're one of those, you probably haven't appeared on Sportsnet.
Yeah.
Especially during the ECC network era. With the ECC network, those are solely games, so there's not much. In fact, there's not any additional content there. Though Sportsnet extends over to our YouTube channel as well, where we host the Dolphin Pod and more. I've decided, Nick, that on Tuesday, it's time for a new episode.
Oh.
So it looks like we may have 2 episodes in the coming week. We'll see as the week progresses, but it looks like we're going to have a guest from CSI Track and Field coming up, and then we're going to have an episode on Tuesday at the field.
Nice.
As Nick Campese goes behind 1 and 2 on that swing and miss. Hopefully the highlights of the football game bode better for us.
A lot of those highlights for basketball were for the other side. So hopefully we get a repeat performance of last year.
We'll see.
I was just talking to the Pats. I'm sure at least Pat Gialorenzo is ready for a repeat performance on Tuesday.
Should have myself, Pat, Marquise.
I'll be here.
Sal.
I'm not sure how much of an impact I'll make, but I'll be here.
You'll be here?
Yep.
Not sure if I'm missing anybody. That pitch misses outside.
Did Durst play last year?
Oh, Durst will be here. Durst will be here. He did not play last year, no.
I know Lou didn't play, but he was there holding the title belt and keeping score.
He can hold the title belt again. Count full on Campese. And that's it out to left center, falling fast. And that finds open real estate for an RBI base hit. Nick Campese comes through with a 2-out RBI single. And the Dolphins are within 2. It's now 6-4.
Oh, don't look now, Joe, but we got a brand new ball game. It's now 6-4. Queens College is on top as Campese gets a blooper into the outfield for that RBI single to now make this a 2-run game and bring the tying run to the plate in Rodriguez.
Dolphins chipping away these last 2 innings. The big blow, a Vigliotti 2-run homer. And Campese finds open space in left center with an RBI single. And that will prompt a Queens pitching change. So we will step aside and take a break. Our score in the home half of the 6th inning. Queens 6, Staten Island 4.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag like facing backwards and look like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, we have a prodigy. So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. I loved the team. They brought me in like I was one of their own. The professors help out so much. They actually care about developing me, not only so I just memorize the material and able to take a test, but am I able to apply the information. I don't feel nervous asking them, hey, I'm not going to be in class. Can you send me something? And they're completely fine with it and they understand, which is the best part. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do. Be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I'm able to go out and become president of the Student Athletic Advisory Committee. SAC is consistent of like a ton of different backgrounds, and we'll come up with cool ideas for like fundraisings and having the opportunity to raise money for Make-A-Wish and knowing it's going towards a good cause. Not only motivates me, but it motivates the whole community. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
Nico Rodriguez, the batter for the Dolphins, who are now within 2. Nick Campese delivered a 2-out RBI single before our last break. And Nick, for the second consecutive game, Evan Christopher comes on in relief for the Knights.
He got the final 6 outs in game number 1. He got the save in that game. Now comes into relief early here in the 6th, with his team now only up 2 runs.
A pitch taken outside. And the count on Rodriguez evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Rodriguez 0 for 1 in this game. Has drawn a walk. On deck, Michael Kehoe 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. And with 3 innings left, Nick, I'm not sure I'm going to make it.
The struggle is certainly real right now for Joe Foreman.
It's a good thing we don't have a game tomorrow.
Yeah, that is very true.
And the 2-1 is swung on and missed.
I remember last year, I went to one of the Knicks playoff games against Cleveland, and I came here immediately after. I thought I was going to lose my voice that day, too, because I was going wild for that game, and then I called one of the softball games with you.
2-2 is fouled back. I'm not sure I opened my mouth to say anything more than, what's The Undertaker doing here all of WrestleMania weekend? I don't know if you caught it when I said it before, but I said if they needed to get Chad Gable on the card, he could have just run in and hit his finisher on the Rock.
Right.
Would have made just as much sense.
You're still not over that. I don't think you ever will be.
I'll get over it eventually. 3-2 the count now on Rodriguez. Campese can get a head start over at first. And Rodriguez takes ball 4. Tying runs are on base. And Michael Kehoe comes to the plate representing the go-ahead run.
Now, Joe, you could probably answer this question for me. How many pitches did Christopher throw in game number 1?
I can answer that. Let's see.
37?
Yep, 37.
So you got to wonder how long he'll go in this game. Obviously, have to pitch his second straight game.
2 scoreless innings, no hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Here comes the 1-0. That's fouled away.
And wouldn't it be ironic, too, considering I talked about how the Dolphins have been struggling to get the third outs of some of their innings on the defensive side of things. If they were able to get a 2-out rally here, and with one big swing from Kehoe into the gap, could potentially tie this game at 6.
Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. And that misses for ball 2.
This is the perfect spot in the lineup, too, for the Dolphins. Now back to the top of the order. And Kehoe now in the driver's seat, up 2-1 in the count, with Burkhead on deck. Christopher's in a tough position right here, trying to keep his team up 2 runs.
It's sneaking in behind the runner over at shortstop was Segura. Campese does get back. Here comes the 2-1. And that's ball 3. All of a sudden, Dolphins seeing their threat loom much larger here in this sixth inning. 1 run already home. Count 3-1 on Kehoe. And that's in for a called strike 2.
And for the second straight at bat, full count 3-2. The runners will go on this next pitch. So if Kehoe now definitely can get something into the gap, he certainly will bring home both runners. So most pivotal pitch in this game right here, Joe.
Payoff pitch upcoming. Here's the 3-2. And that misses for ball 4. So Kehoe draws the walk. He's on base for the first time. And now Brian Burkhead will come to the plate with a chance to give CSI the lead or tie the score with just a base hit.
Well, a spot right here for Burkhead. We're getting the bases loaded. The Dolphins continue with this 2-out rally. The base hit for Burkhead would tie the game at 6. So we'll have a mound visit here for the Knights. They do have action up in their bullpen as well.
This might be a pitching change, Nick. We'll see.
It is. I was going to ask, it's not the same rule as MLB, right, with the minimum? Okay.
Nope. So the intent from the start was for Christopher to try and get them through this inning and nothing more. Instead, bases are now loaded. And when we come back, a new pitcher comes into the game for Queens. Biggest at-bat of the game coming up as Brian Burkhead comes to the plate for CSI with the bases loaded.
I was the kid who would do surgery on my teddy bear and have my sister be my patient, and I would wear the stethoscope and the lab coat. I was that kid. Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Dr. News, who is the head of the biology department, definitely has had a huge impact over the past 2 years I've been in the lab. He took a chance on me and actually gives me the power to actually do things. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. I've had so many experiences with underprivileged people and just seeing that they want the basic things that people get out of life. And if I can help in any way, that just kind of warms my heart. That's why I want to be a doctor, to serve those who have been dealt a bad hand. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. It was just because I bought into myself, because someone bought into me. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
Yeah, we're back here for the bottom of the 6th. Base is still loaded for the Dolphins. Brian Burkhead up to the plate, and Danny Gargano is going to be the new pitcher for Queens College here. A crucial spot in this game, Joe. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and a single for Burkhead would tie this game.
Gargano has been the best relief pitcher for the Knights this year, a 1.32 ERA across 9 appearances, all in relief. In 13 2/3, he's allowed 11 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. He's walked 5 and struck out 15 opposing batters, hitting just .212 against him. He's behind on Burkhead here, 1-0. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1.
Burkhead a little bit out in front on that one. As he's now evens this count 1-1.
Well, based on the numbers, and as the numbers would indicate, the Knights have saved their best pitching for today. As that's hit a mile high, back behind the plate, foul ball. How about that?
All right.
Off the bounce.
Played it right off the hop.
Crowd loves it.
They've been very vocal these last couple of days as the Dolphins continue their rally.
It's 1-2 on Burkhead. Dolphins have the bases loaded with 2 outs. And Burkhead hits another one high in the air. Shallow right center. It could be trouble. And the ball was nearly dropped by Cisco. He bobbled it and was able to secure it for the final out of the 6th inning. But the Dolphins do get 1 run back, and we head to the 7th. CSI now within 2. Our score, Queens 6, Staten Island 4. Seventh inning from the CSI Baseball Complex. Dolphins scratched out a run on a Nick Campese RBI single in the 6th. But Nick, Dolphins had a big opportunity there with the bases loaded and failed to add on.
And that was one where, if you're Queens College, you breathed a sigh of relief as Marcisco had a little bit of trouble with that previous at-bat. Ball was hit a mile high into right center field. Ball bobbled off of his glove for a second, but he was able to track it down and make the catch to record the final out of the inning and keep it 6-4.
So a big question as this game goes on. How far will the Dolphins push Antonio Gautreau in terms of pitches and innings?
I try to think. You could probably tell me what his longest relief appearance has been this season. I know,
sure can.
I know for a fact when we were at the Ferry Hawks, he pitched an inning and a third. As I once grounded to Rodriguez. He'll throw it onto first base. High throw, and it goes over Vigliotti, and that's going to go down as an error.
Well, that was backed up well by Campese. I don't think it made a difference on that particular play, but if the ball had not taken a good Dolphins bounce and Campese being there made a difference, I think he would have held the runner at first. Because that ball was way over Vigliotti's head. He had no chance.
But going back to what I was saying about Gautreau, I know he pitched an inning and a third in that game. I'm going to assume that's not his longest.
He had a 3-inning outing.
He did have a 3-inning outing, okay.
Yeah.
So he's certainly
against
capable.
Mercy.
Okay.
He's gone 2 in a game. He's gone 3 in a game. And that will go down as a sacrifice bunt. So there's no question that last play was an error, right?
Yeah.
They had the out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if it wasn't a high throw, they would have gotten the out.
We always love our hit error discussions.
Yeah, usually those happen at softball, but happened a couple times here today.
Yeah. Softball always a beacon of hit error controversies.
We'll get more of those potentially on Wednesday. You never know.
Runner in scoring position for the Knights, and a chance to get that run back here in the 7th.
Question's going to be, what is our where are we going to be mentally on Wednesday after what happens on Tuesday?
Hopefully we can come back and celebrate.
Hopefully.
That's it out toward right field. Hit pretty well. And that is over the outstretched glove of Kehoe. That will land all the way at the base of the fence. And a run comes in to score. It's a loud RBI double for Michael Velarde. And the Knights go back in front by 3. It's 7-4.
The bottom half of this lineup for the Knights has been playing dividend for them in this game as Velarde with a big RBI double into right center field. A long run for Kehoe in right center to make that play and almost made the diving catch just out of the reach of his outstretched glove. They're giving Queens College now a 7-4 lead.
Off the bat, I thought there was potential that one got down, but knowing the range of the CSI outfield, thought Kehoe was going to get there, and he gave it a great run, but that ball just kept carrying, Nick, and the wind blowing out toward the wall certainly helped it.
Yeah. And considering we also, we talked about Kehoe, this is really one of our first times seeing him in right field as well. So I'm not sure if that really plays a factor in, playing a different position. I mean, outfield is pretty much the same thing. It's just obviously moving from center to right field in that spot. But still, regardless, the wind has certainly played a factor into that ball being hit, and Kehoe almost got to it.
I spoke about it during Game 1, but depth in your lineup is always so important, and the Dolphins and Knights both have tough outs top to bottom in their order. The Knights, thus far in this game, from 7, 8, and 9, they've gone a combined 4 for 7. And when you get that kind of production from the bottom third of the order, oftentimes you're going to have a good day at the plate. 8 hits in this game for Queens, 4 out of the 7, 8, and 9 spots. Count now 3-1 on Leo Alvarez. And he takes a strike. Three and 2 pitch upcoming. Runner in scoring position over at second is Velarde. Here's the payoff pitch. And that gets away and rolls all the way toward the Dolphins' dugout. And if that rolled in.
Almost dead.
If that rolls in as the runner is going, time was called. Or was it?
Oh, no. See if I can pick it up on the replay if they did call.
Okay, so they're going to say that ball did end up in the Dolphins' dugout. However, the runner on second had not yet reached third.
Didn't look like it went in the dugout either.
I didn't think it did.
I don't think it did either.
Well, the infield umpire, from what I just heard, explained that the ball ended up on the top step of the dugout and that the runner on second was awarded third rather than advancing on the wild pitch. But I must have misheard. So it's runners on the corners, 1 out. Dolphins play the middle infielders back. They hold the runner on at first. Weigel in at third. And at the plate now is the number 9 hitter, Thomas Napolitano Jr. He had a 3 RBI double earlier. He's 1 for 3. Comes the 1-0. That's it for a strike.
Double play ball would be crucial for the Dolphins in this spot. They were able to turn it right here, keep this a 3-run game.
And that's hit toward right field corner.
That's a fair
it's
ball.
A fair ball. Wow. The wind brought that one back into fair territory. I could not believe that ball landed fair, Nick.
That's a bad break for CSI. I thought the same thing, Joe. I thought that was going to go foul.
That ball off the bat appeared that it was certainly going to land foul. But if you take a look at that flag out in left field, the wind blowing right to left,
yep,
carried that ball back into fair territory. And it goes down as an RBI single for Napolitano Jr. It's now 8-4.
So another tough break for CSI that's happened in this game. That misses it high and inside for ball one.
Back to the top of the order now. Phil Carpata, the batter. He's 0 for 3.
That should bring home the runner from third. Depending on the... Actually, it may not.
It's a shallow fly ball.
Polome's got a good arm.
Let's see how good. Throw to the plate. It's cut off. I don't think they had him anyway, but there were some groans when the throw was cut off.
Yeah. I think it would have been close.
Well, that error, Nick, an absolute killer. And we said it earlier in the game. The free passes on the walks combining with errors have made things a bit more difficult on Dolphins pitchers than perhaps they should have been. As that pitch misses inside. Knights in this game with 9 runs on 9 hits. Bottom of the order now following this half inning. Now 5 for 8 at the plate. And that bottom third of the Queens lineup has been a big part of this game as they've worked the lead back to 5. And you can hear a pin drop right now in the CSI baseball complex.
Got the game back to within 2 runs. Now it's back to 5. The 3 spot here in the 6th inning. Or excuse me, the 7th inning.
There was a lot of life in this building as the Dolphins loaded the bases. The Vigliotti home run invigorated the dugout. And now an error opened the door for Queens. They've scored 3 times, and Gautreau, just looking for the third out, has fallen behind 3-1 against Robert Jacobson.
It's unfortunately been the same scenario I've talked about before. Dolphins just cannot seem to get that third out of the inning.
There is action in the CSI bullpen. Count now full. The runner will be going. That's fouled off. We took a look around the ECC earlier. I'm sure I could pull the score from that second game between D'Youville and Stack over on the Spartans website. But for now, we'll head over to the conference standings. And I said it before, I'll say it again. Especially having dropped 3 of 4 against Stack, this game is huge for the Dolphins.
Yeah, and now they're down to the final 9 outs, and still looking at this final out of the 7th inning right here. But it's now a bigger difference than when we came into the inning going in. It was a 2-run game coming into the top of the 7th. Now it's a 5-run game, and once again the Dolphins are to try to fight their way back from a 5-run deficit.
Right now, Malloy safely atop the standings with a record of 12-3. D'Youville behind them with a record of 6-3. So they've only played the 9 conference games. That number will go to 10 following their game against Stack this afternoon. As your 6 Jimenez takes high for ball 1, the count even at 1. Queens in third with a win in this game. Both Queens and Staten Island will have 16 conference games in the books. That will be the most in the ECC by 4. As Jimenez chops one toward the hole on the right side, that's through for a base hit. That will score a run. Jimenez takes a wide turn and stops at first as he has himself an RBI single. 10th hit of the game for the Knights brings home their 10th run. It is now 10-4 Queens.
Just going from bad to worse, unfortunately, for the Dolphins in this inning. Another run comes home, and now it makes it a 6-run lead for Queens College here in the top of the 7th, as CSI just cannot get that third out.
After the series got off to such a promising start for the Dolphins, these last 3 games have to be a bit demoralizing in a way because Dolphins were in each one of them. They were right there in all 3. They had the lead in game 2. That game, of course, played yesterday. They were right there in game 1 today as Jimenez will steal second. And they were beginning to work their way back in this game. You got the sense that the Dolphins were going to make a late push. They still can, but now they'll have to do so from down 6.
Yeah, it's a tough hill to climb. It's the batter's head, so that will load the bases.
And that's all for Antonio Gautreau. So the Dolphins are going to make a pitching change as Cisco is hit by that last pitch. And we will step aside and take a break. Queens lead Staten Island 10-4.
Dear wrestling.
Dear volleyball. Dear softball. Dear soccer. Thank you for taking me on a journey of a lifetime.
You have given me light in the darkest times where I thought light could not enter.
This sport is so special to me because it taught me how to be a good sport, shake hands before and after you wrestle, showed me how to reach really high highs and really low lows, and it taught me how to be a man, how to deal with adversity both on and off the mat.
Soccer really is the beautiful game, and it will take you more places and give you more experiences than you could have ever dreamed of.
You have taught me that this game is about so much more than myself and more than the wins and losses. It's about the impact you can make on people and difference you can make in this world just by playing this game.
My coaches and teammates have taught me more about volleyball and about life than I thought was possible to learn in 4 years.
I want to thank you for the life you've given me. Not the wins and losses, but the purpose I have found in you. You've taught me what it means to be a champion. Not a wrestling champion, but a champion of life.
With you, there is no race, no gender, no rich, and no poor. There is just the ball, 2 goals, and a common language.
When I'm faced with conflict and trouble, wherever life takes me, I will look back on my years of playing and know you have taught me how to handle it with grace.
Remember to be grateful to the many people who have helped you along the way.
Thank you for being so much more than a sport. This sport has given me everything and more.
And we're back as we play on here in the 7th inning. Count 1-1. Though I'm not sure how.
No, not 1-1.
Okay.
That was just a timeout.
11?
That was
Well,
a time.
no. This is timeout?
Yeah, that's the timeout signal.
The Daniel Bryan yes chant is timeout?
Oh, I don't know if they were doing it like that. I think they were
He
just doing it like
was.
that.
He was.
Was he doing like this?
No, he was.
Oh.
He was halfway there.
Yeah.
He was halfway
No,
there.
that's been their timeout signal.
No wonder the teams don't realize when they're calling timeout. All in good fun. As that misses high. I was wondering how the count was 1-1.
Yeah,
Was I looking away that long?
The pitch wasn't even thrown.
Yeah, I was mildly confused. But Joey Patain at the plate, not to be confused with an easy out. He has been a tough out all day long, dangerous hitter. 2 RBIs in this game. Had 4 in game 1.
He almost got hit by the pitch, or did he get? He did get hit by the pitch.
Oh, boy.
That will break home a run. It's Ryan Fiore is the new pitcher for CSI.
Didn't even get a chance to introduce him. But we will get you his numbers. This PA announcer has been fantastic, Nick.
Do you really just gaslight yourself?
Well, it's gassing myself up.
Gaslighting
myself would be the opposite.
Sorry. You really
if I wanted to gaslight
up.
myself, I would go rewatch a really bad Knicks loss.
No one wants to do that.
Yeah, no. Or even funnier, I'd go rewatch a Knicks win. Because if they lost today, they would have played Orlando, right?
They would have been the 3 seed.
Oh,
so
3?
No, they would have played Indiana. They were locked into either playing Indiana or Miami or Philly.
Yeah, we don't want Indiana.
Yeah. After Cleveland lost their game.
We want Embiidless Philadelphia.
Well, that might not be the case. He might be playing.
Well, that we don't want.
Yeah.
As that's grounded to the left side, snagged by Weigel. Throw across the diamond, gets away from Vigliotti. That will allow another run to score. And the Dolphins get the out at second. So the inning is over. And CSI will trail by 7 when we come back for the home half of the 7th.
All right, so we're back for the bottom of the 7th. The score is now 13-4. We had to fix our scoreboard after those 2 runs scored on the error that previously happened. So a lot has changed since the last inning. A 6-4 lead has now turned into a 13-4 lead for Queens College. It's A.J. Vigliotti now quickly up in the count 2-0. Another inning for Danny Gargano as he has it now a strike to make the count 2-1. Dolphins now down to their final 9 outs as the count's 2-2 to Vigliotti. It's a tough way to end that last inning for CSI. As that one just misses on the outside corner. Cal will now go to full 3-2. Dallas will have 3, 4, and 5 in the inning. Vigliotti, Polamini, potentially a pinch hitter after that, as he works the walk to lead off the inning. Remain Vincent Weigel would be the third batter of the inning. So Vigliotti is on with a leadoff walk. He'll be pinched ran in the inning, as the pinch runner will be Anthony Iraci. Chris Polamini now the batter for CSI. So Iraci now the runner at first. Salad's in there for a strike 0-1. Action up in both bullpens for the Knights and the Dolphins. So that one's fouled off. You might have heard Joe Foreman say that. The foul ball was just near our camera. Just a little bit near it.
We're back.
Come on, Joe. We still got 3 more innings.
I just realized the runs never went up on the board.
Yeah.
I thought it was a 7-run game. It's a 9-run game.
Yep. Pat Fleming, who was in one of the other rooms, came in to let us know.
Wow.
Yep.
7-run inning, huh?
Yep. The complexion of this game, unfortunately, is turned for the worse for CSI. Down 2 going into the inning now, trailing by 9 here in the bottom half of the inning.
Yeah, you said it in a much more professional and diplomatic manner than I did. Though I'm excused because I have to be a man of few words at this point.
Well, yeah.
Palomini strikes out swinging, and there's one away.
I'll bring up Vincent Weigel now with 1 down.
Weigel coming to the plate here, 0 for 3 in this game.
After today, Joe, when do the Dolphins, when is their next game?
Their next game here?
Or just in general?
Well, their next game, I'd have to double check that.
Was it East Stroudsburg?
Now, I don't know if that game is in the middle of this week or next week, but I can tell you in a minute.
I think
it's next week, which means that their next game would be in Deauville. Yeah, their next games are in Deauville. Yep.
Okay.
How about that?
What does that say?
That's a mistake.
Huh.
That's a very long game. A game from April 19th until March 11th of next year, according to our website.
The extended series of all time.
I don't know how that happened, but we're going to fix that right now.
Well, someone's got to do something to fix that.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's only one guy. Not exactly sure how that could have happened.
It's the man of 1,000 voices. Unfortunately, his voice right now is not cooperating.
Well, we're going to fix that now. All right. Hopefully that fixes it.
That 3-2 misses, and Weigel works the walk.
Thank you, Nick. Dolphins have 2 men on with 1 out.
There's Owen Weber.
All right, hopefully that took care of the issue. I still haven't answered your question. I have not forgotten.
Okay.
The East Stroudsburg game is on Tuesday, April 23rd.
Okay.
That game is a Tuesday. So, for us, this is the last time that we will cover baseball until
Senior
the
Day?
final East Coast Conference series of the season. On Senior Day, the Dolphins will face Malloy University in a doubleheader.
That's a long day for us, too. Senior Day not only here, but also at softball.
I have 2 company football games that day.
Right.
And we have both baseball and softball here. As that pitch will get away, and both runners will advance.
Going to need all hands on deck that day.
It looks like the plan for those games is going to be John Venezia, who made his debut on Sportsnet last weekend here at baseball. I will do baseball Senior Day. Then over at softball, you will have the play-by-play call, and you will do softball Senior Day. I will join you on color, and if I have to leave early and head to Jersey to cover one of my company games, you'll still be here to call those.
All right.
That looks like the plan. As Weber hits one in the air out to shallow left. And that is down for a base hit. One run in to score. And holding at third is Weigel. It has a great diving effort out in left field by Velarde. Came up just short.
Yeah, Velarde just missed a great catch in left field, just by a few inches. And it's a RBI hit for Owen Weber. Brings home the 5th Dolphin run. Brings up Chris Bartnick now with first and third, one down in the inning.
Dolphins entered this half inning trailing by 9. Can make things a bit more interesting if they can string together a few hits here. Bartnick 1 for 2 at the plate. Behind him, Nick Campese stands in the on-deck circle. Comes the 1-0. There's a big swing and miss by Bartnick there.
Fastball right there from Gargano. Throw it right past Bartnick.
So while we're on the topic of scheduling, we'll review what's left for us here on Sportsnet. The short answer is not much.
Obviously, Wednesday we have softball.
For now, we have softball on Wednesday. Those non-conference games, though, all season long have been subject to change. But for now, we have softball here on Wednesday. That will be our third to last softball broadcast as Bartnick goes down swinging. On April 21st, we may or may not have softball. And the reason I say that is because we may or may not be here. So we'll have to see what kind of coverage we can get for that game.
Now, is that in accordance because of the playoffs and everything? Is that why?
That is because of the Knicks in the playoffs.
Right.
If rain impacts the games next Saturday against Malloy, I could see that Sunday doubleheader here getting wiped out. So we will see what happens. They will have – actually, they won't have any time to make that Malloy game up. If the Malloy games get rained out on Saturday or the Queens games get rained out on Friday, that Sunday doubleheader here, I don't see it happening. That remains to be seen. We'll keep that on the radar. Dolphins do have a week empty from April 22nd through 25th as Campese fouls that one back, and the count is now 1-2. But for us on Sportsnet, we have Wednesday against Pace. We have Sunday of next weekend against Holy Family, and then we have Senior Day as Campese has another hit. That will drive in a run. Weigel comes in to score, and it's an RBI single for Nick Campese as the Dolphins are back to within 7. It's 13-6.
Not only does he have another hit in this game, he has another RBI hit. He had an RBI single his last time up, gets another RBI single right there. Yeah, the Dolphins can get themselves a 2-out rally here, Joe. They definitely could make things interesting. It's now a 7-run game.
We'll see if there's going to be a pitching change. I believe I did see a motion made to the bullpen.
And that's going to be it for Danny Gargano.
All right. And that will be it for us until the end of this next break. When we come back, Dolphins have a couple of men on, trailing 13-6.
Dear football.
Dear gymnastics.
Dear swimming.
Dear rowing.
Thank you.
Thank you for being something that is more than just my sport.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to use our voices and take action.
You have brought me to a place outside of my comfort zone, gave me an opportunity to live out my dream, and introduced me to my mentors, my role models, and most importantly, my family.
You have given me many ups and downs and have been a love of mine since I was a little kid.
You taught me to be relentless in the pursuit of excellence. It's never been easy, but it never was supposed to be.
For me, gym represents home. It is a place that doesn't care what I look like, can make mistakes, shed tears, but still feel secure.
Thank you for being my second home and guiding me in the right direction for pursuing, then obtaining my degree, which made me the first grandchild in my family to graduate from college.
Basketball has led me on a journey where I've accumulated numerous life lessons to value relationships, practice integrity, and demonstrate commitment.
You put a drive, a passion, a fire in me that can never be put out.
The passion comes from knowing how hard I work and train and how ready I am to perform to my best ability, that I'm mentally and physically ready to go out and have some fun.
Through the discomfort, failure, and pain comes victory, which after all, is only another lesson.
Through you, I've matured mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
And the lessons we've learned over the past 4 years will help us to be successful in the next stages of our lives.
I have accomplished things that I never knew would be possible in my life, and for that, I thank you.
New pitcher here for the Knights. It's 13-6 now after the previous RBI single from Nick Campese. So misses low for a ball, 1-0. There you go, Joe.
Vinay Patel, the new pitcher for Queens, comes in, having appeared in 8 games, including 1 start. He's pitched to a 4.08 ERA with a whip of 1.87 and 17 2/3. He's allowed 19 hits and 9 runs, 8 of those earned. He's walked 14 and struck out 14. Opposing batters hitting .271 against him.
Nice breaking ball there, makes the count now 2-1. It's Nico Rodriguez, the batter for CSI.
I will say, Nick, taking a look at the numbers for a lot of these Queens pitchers, they have a pretty deep pitching staff.
Another good breaking ball. Runs quickly now 2-2.
That was a good-looking pitch. Count 2-2. And Rodriguez takes a call at strike 3.
The Dolphins were not happy with that call.
If it's close in a 7-run game, you probably won't get it. That's not to excuse any potential bad calls, but they may call it too close to take. Either way, the Dolphins return to side here in the 7th. CSI does score twice. They now trail 13-6.
Number 32, Kyle Hornsby.
Inside the 30. Touchdown. Michaela burns it. An incredible finish by Hall.
The NCAA and its member schools offer nearly 500,000 college athletes a path to go pro in something other than sports. Learn more at ncaa.org.
Eighth inning from the CSI baseball complex. Dolphins trail 13-6. Couldn't tell if somebody was walking down the stairs or if we had...
Those were heels.
Oh. Or if somebody was playing bleacher drums.
Bleacher drums.
There's a nice diving catch.
Nice catch by Kehoe.
Out in right field. He made that catch on the backhand. Good-looking play by Kehoe for the first out.
Yeah, it looked like there's some maybe like a formal event going on. Some of the softball players are dressed in some nice dresses for, looks like something here tonight. I'm not sure if it's on campus or not, but
rehearsal dinner for the Finnies.
Oh, there you go.
May 7th with your host, Joseph Foreman.
Hopefully your voice is good by
and
then.
his co-host, Nick Durst.
You know, you started that with Nick, and I thought for a second you were going to say my name. I was like, wait, huh?
Yeah, I need to make sure I fit in my suit by then. I didn't fit for the Hall of Fame, that's for sure. Not even close.
No one would have known if you didn't say anything.
It's all right. We audibled. Though it's only semi-formal, so I'm not sure if I need the suit. We'll see. As the host, I probably should.
So tonight is like the pre-rehearsal or whatever?
No.
Wow.
I was making it up.
Oh. I believed you. I thought that was actually what it was.
Kehoe, another chance, and he's got it. Now, I don't think that's Michael. No. Chris Riley's in right field now. So they didn't get the sub. I'll pass that along. And Nick, take over.
Okay. So we should be giving Christopher Riley the nice catch that we said before. So nice shot by Riley out in right field. Of course, the 2 outs, and now 2 outs in the inning. Gonzalez is now the batter. So he comes in as, I believe, a pinch hitter. Count now 2-0. That one in there for a strike. Now 2-1. The 2-1 misses for a ball. Now 3-1 to count. They're hitting a relief for Ryan Fiore. That one hit into left field, and that will drop down in for a base hit. So Gonzalez is on with the 2-out single. Now we'll extend the inning here at the top of the 8th. As Phil Carpata now bats. It's back to the top of the lineup for Queens College. And the dirt good stop from Campese. That one in there for a strike, now even to the count of 1. Yeah, remember, Joe, your mic's not muted.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so we had to pass along the substitution in right field. Riley gets credit for that nice catch.
Yes, he did.
I always talk about how you need the live stats to call the game, and that's a big part of the reason why, because the changes get radioed into the room next door.
Yeah.
Fortunately, if those changes aren't reflected in the live stats, it's game over.
I saw we had Adam Gonzalez was the previous hitter. So that one hit to second. Flip to seconds in time for the final out of the inning.
We head to the home 8th. Dolphins trail 13-6.
College sports.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
A return to normal, and all we love about sports.
You've instilled resilience, focus, and selflessness in us. We've put those lessons to work.
We've found strength and unity in each other.
You continue to take us places we never imagined.
You bring out the best in us.
So when we look forward, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
We see a better world for all of us.
And for college sports.
Back for the bomb in the 8th inning. Christopher Riley will lead it off for the Dolphins. They still trail this one 13-6. As Vinay Patel once again gets another inning of relief. As Riley swings and misses on that one. Quickly 0-2 is the count for the new Dolphin right fielder.
Well, Nick, I'd let you finish the game, but they say you have to finish what you start.
Yep.
So
I've heard that a bunch of times.
We're getting there. My voice didn't make it, but I will.
Just got to make sure you're good enough for Wednesday.
Yeah, if I sound like this on Wednesday,
we're in trouble.
You will be calling the game. I didn't start the day like this.
No. I think as the game, you had a couple of home run calls earlier, which might have done you in.
Maybe.
I might have done it.
I've been a bit less verbose than normal.
And for anyone that has been listening since game 1 start to now,
the decline
of the voice has been
steady
there.
decline.
A very steady decline.
Yeah. So Chris Riley, who came in right field, gets his first at bat of the game here. He's behind 1-2.
It's going to be Riley, I believe, then Burkhead, and I think followed by Iracy, who pitched ran for Vigliotti earlier.
Check swing, he went around. One away now for Brian Burkhead. I can't even finish my words.
So you could barely say Burkhead.
I don't think I got the second half of his last name in there. There is a way around this loss of voice. And the way around it is to speak very intentionally. I think they say speak from your diaphragm. A lot of the time when there's not something major happening, as Burkhead flies out to center, but you just kind of use a conversation tone. You're not really projecting. But when your voice is on the ropes like this, sometimes you have to use a bit more effort and project.
Yeah.
Now, when you do that, it sounds like I'm shouting into the headset.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen.
At this point, not much more for me to lose in terms of vocal power.
Yeah. Nothing left to lose.
As we mentioned before, Nick, we're winding down toward the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think you can count the number of broadcasts left on 2 hands. Here at baseball, we're only on the air.
One more time.
Well, one more time in conference play.
Conference play-wise, yes. Oh, right. We saw Veterans Day. I forgot about that.
That's Heroes Day.
Sorry. Yeah. Veterans Day, Heroes Day. Ugh. Yeah.
You're a few months off.
Yeah,
just okay.
Just a couple months off.
It's been a long day. Yeah. But following the senior day conference finale, Dolphins take on Adelphi on April 30th. And then the season finale will be Saturday, May 4th, as the Dolphins host Heroes Day against Holy Family.
Is that the first time that they played someone the same time non-conference 4 times in one season? Because we play Holy Family.
They might have played Caldwell 4 times.
Did they?
Last year, yeah. I think they did.
I know, because obviously we had those 2 games at the Ferry Hawks. Just pretty much almost a month. It's over a month now since we've had those games, but I didn't know if we ever had that instance where we've had the same team for 4 times non-conference play-wise.
So Anthony Iracy, who pinch ran earlier for A.J. Vigliotti, got an at-bat there and drew a walk. Now Chris Polomini is at the plate behind 0-1.
So officially we have 3 days left of baseball broadcast. And then
3 softball.
3 at softball.
6 broadcasts left.
Yep. Winding down.
There is definitely a chance that senior day might be my last call of the season.
Not gonna be. You not hear the
Depends on what the Knicks and Rangers do. As that's hit toward the right field corner, and that's down for a base hit. They are waving Iracy. Nope, he will stop.
They originally were.
They were waving him. I'm not seeing things. It's a double for Chris Polomini. That's his second hit of the game, and the Dolphins have 2 in scoring position with 2 outs.
Well, he's having himself a good doubleheader regardless, Polomini. with that double down the right field line. Almost got an RBI on the hit as well, but they hold Iracy up at third base.
Nick, if Vincent Weigel can come through with a hit here,
make
it's
it
a 4-run game. And you never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
There's still some time.
That one's fouled off. But as I was saying, depending on what the New York teams do in the playoffs, as in where they play their playoff games,
Yep.
Senior Day might be it. We'll see. This is up and away, and it looks like the Hornets and the Wasps are beginning to make their presence felt in the camera. Glancing over, I thought I've seen them a few times.
I didn't even notice it.
Once I saw them around our room, I figured they're everywhere.
It's funny because on Senior Day last year, when John Castiglione hit a grand slam, I went to go and capture the replay for it, and one of a Wasp, got involved in the camera shot. So it's kind of like a weird replay, but it's nothing I could have done. They really can't do when you capture in the replay. It just flies right in front.
Yeah, those Hornets' nests here at baseball, a staple for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Count now 3-1. And that's hit toward the left side. Handled at third. Throw to first in time. And that will do it for the Dolphins here in the 8th. CSI strands 2 in scoring position. And we head to the 9th. Queens leading 13-6.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
Ninth inning from the College of Staten Island. We got started about 6.5 hours ago. Pinch hitter into the game for Queens.
It's Elquin Rodriguez.
He will face Michael Santoriello. Dolphins lefty comes on for an inning of work here in the 9th. His first pitch misses outside for ball 1. That's in for a called strike. Oof. They're going to have to do a home run call for my voice. Going, going, gone. It's been a steady progression all day.
That one is out of here.
That's going to be me as soon as the final out is recorded.
Cough
Big
drops.
swing there by Rodriguez.
Joe's going to need to go to a pharmacy right after this or somewhere to get some cough drops.
I need to rest.
Well, of
That's
course.
what I
I mean, Tuesday was an all-important day.
I'm questionable right now, Nick.
Oh, no. Can't be. Yeah, you don't need your voice for that game.
I'll have to vacate the belt.
No, you don't need your voice for that, though. You'll be fine.
Though if they're catering again from A&S, might have to show up. Even if I watch.
Well, I'm sure Sal obviously is the one that, gets involved with helping set up those games. So I'm sure
it's his event.
Yeah, I'm sure we will be. There'll be food and we'll be all situated for that.
That's what I like to hear. The question is whether or not they'll have those rice balls. That's my go-to. Your 6 Jimenez, the batter. After Rodriguez struck out looking, he thought he had ball 4. Jimenez 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs in this game. The 0-1 misses down and in. Pitch misses outside. Here's the 2-1. That's ball 3. Some of these misses in this half inning have not been close. As Jimenez gets ahead 3-1. Anything close, expect a big swing. As that's hit out to right center. And Riley can't get to it. Jimenez still going. He's headed for third. And he's in with a triple.
It's a mixture of the wind and the sun on that one.
Yep. Not much you can do there.
That is one of the more deadlier combinations for a baseball player out in the outfield.
I've said it many times over the course of many games over now 9 years. Elements not to be discounted here at the College of Staten Island. As that's hit sharply past a diving Weigel and into left field for a base hit. And Mark Cisco will take second. And obviously late in this game, it's an 8-run game now. Likely that Cisco's run doesn't mean much, but you hate to concede those extra bases if you're the Dolphins.
Yeah. Cisco kept hesitating if he's going to go to second or not, but eventually did get into second base as the Knights get one of those runs back.
That's Cisco's first hit in game 2. In front of him, Jimenez 3 for 6. Patain 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. And he takes inside. That's good news for us, Nick.
That's very good news.
Very good news. As that ball's hit well deep to left field. The wind blowing that way. Carries it toward the wall. And Burkhead lost it. I thought it hit off his glove.
I thought it did too. I don't think a replay will do it any justice to see if it did or not.
Yeah. He just dropped it, Nick. And the same was true, not so much of the Vigliotti home runs, but on a few balls hit to the outfield. It looked like the batter there got under it a bit, and that ball just kept carrying in the wind. Left field is the place to go if you're a hitter right now. Well, Nick, they gave him a double.
Okay.
The scoreboard gave him an error, and the stats gave him a double. Did Burkhead ever touch the ball?
I couldn't tell from the replay.
I thought he did. But the way that ball came to rest at the fence, I'm not so sure. So, the official scoring right now is a double. As that's sliced to the opposite field, and that will drop over Weber's glove. Well, obviously, you and I, Nick, impartial. That being said, we are the CSI Sportsnet broadcast team. So we like to see the Dolphins have success overall. But that bit of good news that came through for us is that Game 1 for the Knicks will be on Saturday, which means that you and I will be here next Sunday.
Yep.
Now, if they wanted to make my day, they would inform me that Saturday is going to be a night game. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
As that's lined to left field for another base hit. Michael Velarde delivers yet again. He now has 2 RBIs in this game as he's 3 for 4. And Queens now leads at 16-6.
As I mentioned earlier, just going from bad to worse, unfortunately, for the Dolphins in the later stages of this game. And now 10-run lead for Queens College.
Anthony Apletti will be the batter. Chance of ip, hooray. Gotta love it from the Queens dugout.
Well, they certainly have been saying the other opposite, hip, hooray, for what they've done offensively here today.
All right, Nick, all right.
Just stating what's happened. 16 runs and 16 hits, certainly something to celebrate.
And the 1-1's in for a strike. That's chopped to the left side, foul. So if they wanted to give me some really great news, they would let me know it's a night game.
If I can find that out, I'll let you know. But it's the only thing I've seen about the game so far.
If Game 1 is Saturday,
I don't think you'll know the time yet until the playing games happen.
Well, yeah, I'm not even trying to figure the time. What they typically do is some combination of an off day in between each game plus 1. So there's an extra off day somewhere, whether it's between Game 2 and 3, between Game 1 and 2. Sometimes they go 2 days off.
I'm going to assume it's going to be between Game 2 and 3, considering it's going from...
Yeah, but they don't always do it that way.
It's
a day off between games plus 1 somewhere. You don't know where that's going to be. It's somewhere in the first 4 games you get that extra day. You typically don't get an extra day twice. As that's hit well out to right center field. And that ball will land off the top of the fence. The gate flies wide open in center field. And Mike Frieda is into third base standing with a 2 RBI triple.
I thought he had a home run on that last hit. Thought that one was going over the wall.
The Queens dugout loves it. And for the Dolphins, the deficit has ballooned to 12.
They have to close that gate now at center field.
Phil Crapata will be the batter. So if they go a day off between games plus 1, they would play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then you would add 1. So Game 5 you'd suspect would be Monday.
They said Game 5 is Sunday, I think.
They said it already?
I think they said Game 5 is Sunday.
They have up to Game 5 already determined?
Well, I think if you have your tickets, so like season ticket people.
Oh, yeah, but those aren't official.
Okay.
If the Knicks are playing Saturday, the Rangers are going to play Sunday. The only question is day game or night game.
Right.
If they say day game, those tickets are getting sold tonight. If it's a night game, you and I are going. So we'll see. Here comes the 1-2. And that swung on and missed for strike 3. That will do it for the Knights here in the 9th. But Queens scores 5 more. They have 18 runs on 17 hits. As the bench got in on the action for Queens, Mike Frieda gets a nice ovation as he heads back to the dugout. He delivered that final blow, a 2 RBI triple. And the Dolphins down to their final 3 outs, trail 18-6.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail,
I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Owen Weber will lead off for the Dolphins here in the 9th inning. CSI trails 18-6. Dolphins in this game were right there until the 7th inning. The momentum was on their side. They had scored 5 unanswered runs. Tied the score at 6. Or I should say it scored 3 unanswered runs. But the Knights broke the game open in the top half of the 7th. And Owen Weber is quickly retired for the first out here. But Dolphins, in every game they played in this series against Queens, either won it or were right there at one point. And it looks like they're headed for losing 3 out of 4.
And you got to think now, Joe, what does this do now to the team going into their next games against Duville, where obviously they're going to need some of those games against the Saints in order to keep themselves alive in playoff competition?
Well, with losing 3 out of 4 here, they would lose the tiebreaker against Queens, and having lost 3 out of 4 against Stack, they lose the tiebreaker against them. Queens now, with this win, will be 3 games ahead of the Dolphins. Going to be pretty tough to make that up. If they were to make it up, they would have to make up an additional game for losing the tiebreaker. So with 8 games to go, they have to be 4 games better than Queens. That's going to be tough to do. Stack has only played 8 conference games, so you have to hope that the Spartans falter and that you can make up some ground there. However, you don't have that tiebreaker either. So it's going to be really tough. If I had to guess, the Dolphins will need to win at least 6, probably 7, to have any hopes of making the playoffs. If Duville was not eligible, that would change everything. Now, Duville currently occupies the number 2 spot. I'll see if we have a score from that game. They're facing Stack this afternoon in Game 2 of a doubleheader. Try and get that to you before this broadcast ends. But I always say, before the second to last weekend at the very earliest, it's just too soon to start scoreboard watching.
Right.
You need to take care of business. But let's see. So Stack and Duville are playing their second game tomorrow.
Okay.
Must have rain.
Maybe.
Because it's on the ECC schedule as today.
Mm.
But they will not play today. They will play tomorrow. Dolphins down to their final strike, and Nick Campisi fights one off foul. So the Dolphins, in all likelihood, will have – I shouldn't even say in all likelihood. They will have to take 3 out of 4 at Duville. If they don't win at least 3, then they probably won't have enough wins to overcome anybody, as Campisi has another hit.
That's number 3 of the day.
Campisi 3 for 5.
Making the most of his at-bats here today, again, the start of game number 2.
Dolphins now with 10 hits in the game, and Nico Rodriguez will be the batter. But projecting ahead, the Dolphins will probably need no worse than 3 out of 4 against both D'Youville and Malloy. Malloy right now 26-9, 12-3 in conference play. So I think, admittedly, it's a very bleak outlook.
It's a tough hill to climb for CSI these next couple weeks.
All you can ask for is to be in it going into the final weekend.
All right. And they were last year, so.
Yep. And they faced D'Youville in that final weekend, correct?
Yes.
They needed mercy to stumble against Lincoln. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we don't have conference softball again for a while. But taking a look at softball, there's a much more optimistic outlook. And we said it, Nick. That doubleheader against Mercy to end the season is going to be huge, as Rodriguez draws the walk. Now, Mercy cannot lose the tiebreaker to CSI. However, the two teams are tied in the standings right now. Both have played 12 conference games. D'Youville has also played 12 conference games, and the Dolphins have the tiebreaker against the Saints. So they're in pretty good shape there. I think for the Dolphins, what it's going to come down to, those final 2 games against Mercy. Chris Riley is going to bat here.
We have a pitching change.
Yep. So we'll stay right here as we're talking playoff scenarios. Now, you would think with the ovation that some of the Knights are getting leaving the field, that they might be leaving the field for the final time. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played this year, but a lot of their exiting players have received very nice ovations as they've come off.
Yeah. They have traveled very well here from Queens here today.
Sure have. So, for softball, as I mentioned, that doubleheader against Mercy to end their season is going to be massive. And the Dolphins probably will have to win both. But ahead of that, there's still plenty of conference softball left, all of it on the road. I mentioned it earlier, Friday at Queens, Saturday at Malloy, next Friday at St. Thomas Aquinas, and then, well, actually, that's not next Friday. It's next Friday at Queens, Saturday at Malloy, and then a week from this coming Friday at Stack, and a week from the next Saturday on the calendar, back here on April 27th. The picture will be a lot clearer as that Senior Day doubleheader draws closer. But new pitcher in for Queens. Any luck with the number, Nick?
Did not see the number.
Let's go to live stats. Let's see.
They did, obviously.
They have it.
Yeah.
Christian Duarte.
Okay.
Get you his numbers very quickly. Now, if the stats are any indication, this is his first appearance of the season.
Maybe that's why he got the ovation. That probably would make sense.
I don't know if it was for him or not.
I think it was.
Yeah?
I could be wrong.
Well, he's making his first appearance of the season, unless I'm missing him on the stats, and I don't believe I am. So Duarte inherits 2 base runners. The Dolphins down to their final out, and Chris Riley will be the batter. We are approaching the 7-hour mark, 6:52 p.m. here on Staten Island. Game 1 got underway at noon. First pitch on its way. And Riley hits it out to left center. This should do it.
How about that? One pitch gets the final out of the game.
Catch is made in center by Carpata. And the Knights come into the CSI Baseball Complex and take 2 from the Dolphins. They defeat the College of Staten Island 18-6 here in Game 2. And Nick, after yesterday, this has to be a very disappointing result for CSI. Obviously, this really hurts them in their pursuit of a conference playoff spot, but they have 8 big games left against ECC opponents, and they have to go out to Buffalo next weekend and perform well. Otherwise, they may be coming back home to end the season eliminated from playoff contention.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot. They're going to have a lot to do, and you mentioned it. It might be an uphill battle for him to do so in order to try to get themselves a potential berth in the playoffs this season. But you talk about how these games went for the Dolphins. Obviously, Game 1, they got back from that 6-2 deficit. They tied the game. They just could not get the game-tying run after they trailed 8-6. They eventually fell 11-7. And in this game, they made another great rally. I mean, they made it a 2-run game. It was 6-4 going into that 7th, and then unfortunately that's where everything went wrong for the Dolphins. 7 runs in that 7th inning, 5 more here in the 9th, and they lose this one 18-6. And definitely a demoralizing 2 losses for CSI here today.
No question about it, Nick, but the Dolphins, as I mentioned, still have 8 conference games left on the schedule, and perhaps they can flip the narrative with a big weekend in Buffalo next Friday. That series will begin on the road at Deauville Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Dolphins will play in Buffalo, and then, of course, the team will come back home and take on Malloy University on Senior Day during the final weekend of the season. Those 2 games will be games 2 and 3 in a 4-game set against the Lions, as that series will get underway on Friday, April 26th. But, Nick, for our audience that only tunes in for baseball, this will be the last time they hear from us until that Senior Day doubleheader.
Right.
So, for the rest of the audience, until Wednesday, thank you for watching. And for our baseball audience, we'll see you again at the end of the month. Once again, our final score here in Game 2. Queens 18, Staten Island 6. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and be sure to tune into softball. Check it out on Wednesday, first pitch at 2 p.m.